This is Audible.
Podium Audio presents Reckless Hearts, Book 6 of Dark Hearts, written by Jagger Cole, performed by Sophie Daniels and Ryan West. This audiobook contains mature subject matter. Listener discretion is advised.
Chapter 1. Dahlia. Full moons in the fall always raise the hairs on the back of my neck. But fear isn't always necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes it's a good thing, or at least an important survival instinct. Fear of the dark, way back when, led to us discovering fire. Fear of the unknown teaches us to conquer it, and fear of death makes sure we look both ways before crossing the street. A healthy respect for fear goes a long way. My problem, at least for the last 6 years, is that I flirt with fear just as much as I'm afraid of it. It's like I'm drawn to a tightrope over an abyss. I know damn well I'm supposed to stay far away. Deep down, I think that's why I like it, though. It's that ambiguous, swirling, intoxicating mix of excitement and genuine, actual fear. That frenzied, buzzing, chaotically blurred space where the rush of adrenaline that you might get from watching a scary movie bleeds into the blood-curdling scream of your psyche's survival instinct, as if you're milliseconds away from being run down by a freight train. It's not that I'm a danger or adrenaline junkie. Far from it. I've never been one to go out and actively put myself in harm's way chasing a brain chemical high. Base jumping? Skydiving? Shark caging? Yeah, hell to the fucking no. But the fluttery, heart-stopping thrill that I get from that forbidden in-between is fantastic. It's why I love horror movies, but hate big crowds. Why I'll listen to a blood-soaked true crime podcast till the cows come home, but warily side-eye every stranger I pass on the street. Considering that I live in New York City, that's a lot of side-eyeing. Of course, there's a second reason full moons in the fall raise the hairs on the back of my neck and make my pulse skip a little faster. Him. My villain. My darkest fantasy. The one who shattered me. The devil of the darkness who sent me running 6 years ago. Blood on his hands, a body at his feet, and the threats spilling from his perfect lips. Are we doing another? I pull myself from my thoughts as I glance across the small candlelit table at Raph. Raph, to whom I've spoken about my oddities, at length, and who calls me a conundrum of the human mind, which I suppose is his very polite way of calling me a fucking weirdo. We're not best friends, and we sometimes drift apart, but we always drift together again, and after knowing him for 7 years, I consider Raph one of my closest friends, so he can get away with it. Dahlia, are we doing another glass? I clear my throat and make a face. I'm gonna go with yes. Was that a question? I grin. Erase the question mark. Yes, I'll do one more quick drink, but then I have to jet. My stepbrother rolls his eyes and dramatically lifts a wrist to a cute passing waiter. Deux de plus, s'il vous plaît. Raph purrs in an overly emphasized French accent, something he can get away with, considering that he is French. The waiter, who's been eye-fucking my stepbrother about as hard as Raph has been eye-fucking him all evening, blushes a little and grins before he nods and scurries off. I roll my eyes as I watch Raph's gaze follow him to the bar. Down, boy. Oh, what? He sighs, smirking at me. He reminds me of the one who got away. I snort. And who might that be? Oh, who can even remember these things? My eyes roll again as Raph exhales and reaches across the table to take my hand in his, shaking it a little. But enough about me and my wandering libido. How are you doing? God damn it. I've been quite enjoying the fantasy that Raph and I are merely out having a few drinks for the hell of it. And not because, well, the sky is falling. Or at least my sky, and my mother's. I'm fine, I lie.
Do you want to practice that and try again in a few?
I give him the finger. Raph smiles sardonically and squeezes my hand harder.
Dahlia, talk to me.
Permission to speak freely?
Always.
Your dad is a real fucking asshole. Which sucks to say out loud, because I used to consider him the closest thing to a real dad I had. Raph frowns, nodding slowly.
I completely agree with you.
His brows knit deeper as he looks across the table at me, the overhead string lights of the rooftop garden lounge we're sitting in twinkling above us.
I'm truly sorry, Dahlia. I never once thought he would pull something like this.
I'm aware that I've beaten the odds, and cheated death, to be even sitting at this table at Gallow Green right now. Never mind living in New York in my gorgeous apartment, or wearing such nice clothes, or attending Columbia Business School. 25 years ago, I was born, as the blues singers like to croon, under a bad sign. Conceived through violence and horror, to a 17-year-old French cleaning girl and the 40-year-old Iranian businessman who employed her, and then later assaulted her. Somehow, Mom and I beat that. I managed to come back from the horror that happened to me later, when I was 12. My mother, Adele, found a way to be human again, and to stand tall. To use the money we got when my monster of a father was killed, and his fortune landed in our laps, to give us both a new life and start a foundation that helps women like her. She even, somehow, found happiness with an incredible, loving man who saw past every single one of her demons and scars and loved her for her heart. Raphael's father, Gérard Dumouchel, a handsome, charming, big-hearted French businessman who swept my mother off her feet 7 years ago, and who, as of last week, has gone completely radio silent with her. Radio silent, that is, aside from serving her with divorce papers and a stack of legal motions that essentially say he's stealing her entire fortune out from underneath her. May I still speak freely?
About my father, please.
Fuck your dad, I spit venomously, startling the cute waiter as he arrives back with our glasses of Viognier. Raph pats my hands and then turns to wink at the waiter.
Merci.
He turns back to me after the young man leaves again.
Look, Dahlia, he and I have had our differences, especially when he left my mum. But
he sighs and shakes his head.
You know, if I'd ever had the slightest inkling of something like this, I'd have warned you, right? Adele too, for that matter.
I nod slowly, gazing into my wine as I twist the stem of the glass between my fingertips.
How's she doing, by the way?
I smile wryly. She's a French woman. How do you think she's doing?
Hiding her feelings, outwardly putting on a nonchalant, carefree front, and stabbing her pillow with kitchen knives behind closed doors?
Nailed it. What I don't mention to Raph are the tears. My mother has never been one to cry, choosing instead to always put on a brave face. She learned young to do that. But when we FaceTimed over the last 7 days, her in our townhouse in Paris, me here in New York, I've seen the puffy redness not even her fancy Parisian concealers can hide. It's not the fact that Gérard is leaving her. I doubt it's even that he's trying to royally fuck her financially on the way out either. It's that after a lifetime of closing her heart off, she finally opened those doors to him. And then she got betrayed for it.
What's the, state of your personal finances?
I raise my eyes questioningly to Raph, who clears his throat.
What I mean is, are you okay for money right now?
I smile. Oh, yeah, no, I'm totally fine. I'm totally fucked is what I am. Attending business school in New York takes up an enormous amount of my time, which means I don't have a job, at least not until I can secure an internship, which is part of my school program. Even if it's paid, and that's a big if, it will only pay peanuts anyway. So for now, my money for food, the nice clothes, my fancy apartment, and everything else comes out of an allowance doled out by the trust that holds my mother's and my money. A trust that, as of 5 days ago, has been frozen, thanks to Gerard's legal motions. And that means I'm going to be living off a credit card until, well, fuck knows when. So, no, I'm not fine at all. And if Gerard manages to succeed in robbing us blind, and the prognosis on that isn't great, I have less than zero idea how I'll pay for school, or any of the rest of it. Raph gives me a look.
Just ask.
For?
Money, my dear.
I wave him off. Raph, I'm totally fine, but
My God, you're as stubborn as you are proud, aren't you?
Yes. Raph, I don't need your charity.
Oh, it's not a gift, honey.
He grins.
It'd be a loan, and I'd charge a steep interest rate.
I smile as I pat his hand. I'm good, really, but thank you. I appreciate the gesture so much. You have no idea. He lifts his shoulders and hands elegantly in surrender as I glance at my watch. Shit, I've got to run, I hiss before downing the rest of my wine in one gulp.
Ah, yes, to your mafioso friends.
Raph sighs. I give him a look. Really? As if your dad isn't good buddies with André Leblanc, not to mention the rest of the French Mafia.
Yes, dear. But I don't get invited to their 21st birthday parties, now do I?
Touché. Raph grins.
I'm just giving you a hard time, Dahlia. I'm happy that you found this little tribe of yours. You deserve it. I hope you know that.
I smile as I pat his hand. Thanks, Raph. I haven't historically done the most spectacular job of making friends. When I was a kid, it was mostly just my mom and I, and of course Aunt Celeste and Uncle Adrian. School wasn't usually a barrel of laughs either. When everyone knows the sordid tale of your conception, not to mention your family ties to British Mafia legend Adrian Cross, they're not exactly lining up to make friends with you. When Mum met Gerard, his connections and her money got me into the infamous Knightsblood University here in the US, which Raph attended a year ahead of me. But even there, in a school notorious for its student body full of Mafia heirs, I was the weird one, an outcast. And then I was literally cast out. By him. But then, a year ago, I found real friendship with an awesome girl in my program, Eilish Kildare, an Irish Mafia princess and all-around incredible friend. We clicked immediately, and she and her older sister Nev and I have been close ever since. And through them, I also became great friends with their sister-in-law, the Greek Mafia princess, whose 21st birthday party I'm on my way to tonight. That's where things get complicated. Complicated and downright dangerous.
You won't be too proud to call if you need anything, will you?
I smile. No, I promise. We stand, and Raph hugs me close.
Again, I'm so damn sorry, Dahlia. Please tell your mom that I'm on your side. And whatever you guys need, I'm here, okay?
I leave Raph with his gaze lingering on our waiter and make my way to the elevator. I do love Gallo Green, where we've been sipping wine, and I appreciate that Raph picked this spot on a quiet night midweek, since he knows my thing about big crowds. Downstairs, I shiver as I step out into the cool autumn air and raise a hand to hail a taxi. I swallow as I glance up at the big full moon looming over the city, and a chill creeps deviously up my spine. It's not Halloween yet, but it's close. Devil's Night. His night. And it reminds me of a Halloween night 6 years ago. A night of devils and darkness, of mayhem and death. The night my life changed forever. A short cab ride later, I'm pulling up outside the 40-story building on Central Park South. That same creepy, chill finger walks up my spine as I step out of the car and smile at the doormen and Draco's family guards, who all know me well by now. In a parallel universe, one where I have any sort of sanity, I never even cross paths with Calliope Dracos, much less become friends with her. Not because she's not an amazing person and one of the best friends I've ever had, and not even because her family is Greek Mafia. No, it's because 6 years ago, I crossed paths with the very devil himself. And that devil happens to be her brother, Deimos Dracos. My terror. The Prince of Darkness who stalked my shadows and haunted my inkiest dreams back at Night's Blood, not to mention has continued to do so virtually ever since. Every story has a villain, and he's the one in mine. Callie is the youngest in her family with 4 older brothers, and all 5 of them were named after various Greek gods, muses, and titans. Her oldest brother, Ares, who runs the Dracos Empire now and is married to Eilish's sister Nev, is named after the god of war and courage. After him comes Hades, the god of the underworld. Though I have to admit, Callie's wild man of a brother has certainly chilled out a fair bit since he got together with his fiancée, Elsa. Kratos, my friend's largest brother, is well named after the god of strength and might. Meanwhile, Calliope and I joke all the time about her being named after the muse of eloquence, epic poetry, and harmony of voice, because my brash, sassy friend is probably the least eloquent person I've ever known, and as much as I love her, she can't sing for shit. And that leaves Deimos, the god of dread and terror. There has never, ever been a person so aptly named.
Run from this place now, and if you ever speak of any of this, I'll destroy everything you love.
I shiver at the memory as the elevator rises to the roof of the original building atop which the Dracos estate sits. Almost 100 years ago, Callie's great-grandfather used his newfound criminal wealth to buy a neoclassical mansion in England, take it apart brick by brick, and then transport it to America and rebuild it on the roof of this 40-story building overlooking Central Park. It's stunning, sprawling, massive, with panoramic views of all of Manhattan and Central Park. There are grounds, complete with classical Greek sculptures, 2 pools, a tennis court, and rose gardens. It's without a doubt one of my very favorite places on Earth. Except, I shiver as the elevator doors open, revealing the foyer of the gorgeous estate. Except, there's no escaping the tingling sensation I get whenever I'm here. The warning light blinking on and off in the back of my mind. The feeling that a malevolent spirit is about to emerge from the shadows, snatch me up, and drag me down to hell. The thing is, I didn't know who Callie was when we first met. Or rather, I didn't know who her family was. Eilish invited me to a bar early on in our friendship and just introduced me to her friend Callie. We hit it off instantly, like we'd been friends our whole lives. We hung out again, and then a third time. Then she friended me on social media, and my heart just about choked me to death. Callie, as in Calliope Dracos, as in little sister to my very devil. Thinking about it now, I should have cut my losses and run. But again, I don't make friends easily. And besides, Deimos lives in London, running the Dracos family's European enterprises. 6 years ago, he told me to stay away. I feel like the entire Atlantic Ocean between us is enough, right? Right? Dahlia! I flinch, my pulse spiking. The dark images of Deimos's dark, vicious, lethally gorgeous face swimming feverishly through my head melt away as I turn and force a smile to my face. Hey! Eilish gives me a big bear hug, beaming as she grabs my wrist. Come on, we're all outside on the veranda. I make a face. Little cold to be outside, isn't it? She shrugs. You know Dimitra? I grin. Do I ever? Callie's bird-like grandmother, who technically owns this mansion, is a hoot. But part of her obsession with honoring her family's Greek origins is dining al fresco under the arbor in her rooftop rose garden, basically until it starts to snow. There's heat lamps, don't worry. Eilish winks at me. And lots of wine. I swallow back the ominous feeling that I get from time to time in this house, along with the swirling images of Deimos' snarling face. A grin curls my lips. Well, in that case, lead the way. She frowns. Hey, how's Adele? She stops when she sees the look on my face. Oh, well, you know I'm here whenever you want to talk about it. I know. I reach out and squeeze her hand. Thanks. But first, champagne? Lots of champagne. Soon enough, surrounded by the tribe, as Raph put it, that I found, my apprehension has melted away. He's not here. Honestly, he's never here, which is the only reason I haven't cut and run when it comes to my friendship with Callie. She's mentioned before that for some reason, Deimos hates New York City with a passion bordering on concerning. That and the fact that he runs the entire European side of the Dracos Empire single-handedly means he's never here. Apparently, not even for important family birthdays. Thank God. But even minus one brother, Callie's beaming when she steps out of the house to an enthusiastic cheer from all of us. Which is great, because for a long time, her 21st birthday was a black spot on the horizon none of us wanted to think about. A decade ago, Callie's late father made a deal with a vile, cruel, and way older Italian don, Luca Carvelli, promising him Callie's hand in marriage when she turned 21. A few weeks ago, though, rumors started swirling that Luca was dead from a heart attack, which means no more arranged marriage between my friend and that ghoul. So, birthday aside, that's cause enough to celebrate. I give Callie a huge hug and wish her a happy birthday as Ares passes us all flutes of champagne. I really want to know what the fuck is going on with your mom and Gerard. Callie hisses in my ear, pulling me aside. When I give her the same look that I gave Eilish, she sighs and nods. Okay, totally get it. Maybe later? How about we just enjoy your birthday tonight, yeah? She smiles wryly and gives me another hug. Not to mention the glorious death of your late and unlamented arranged marriage. A weird sort of look flashes across her face, but just as quickly disappears. Oh, definitely, she blurts. We're definitely drinking to that. A second later, though, she's being pulled away for pictures with her grandmother. I smile as I watch the Dracos clan joke with and jostle each other. Next to them, the Kildares, Eilish, Nev, their uncle Killian and his wife Una, and of course their former bodyguard, who might as well be their older brother, Castle, do the same thing. Sometimes, okay, a lot of times, I'm jealous of the big families my friends have and have had their whole lives. But I remind myself just how lucky I am to be a part of all this, even only on the periphery. So I smile as they all take photos, sipping my champagne as I turn to the side table Dimitra has had set up near where we're all eating, filled with framed pictures of Callie and her family growing up. I grin at one of her at maybe 10, wearing the infamous Dracos birthday hat. This absurd cat-in-the-hat-looking monstrosity that for some reason they all traditionally wear on birthdays, and that Callie hates. There's one of Ares and Hades riding their bikes as kids. Another of a teenaged but already massive Kratos hoisting Callie out of a pool. Another of baby Callie in her grandmother's arms, as my lips spreading into a wide grin. And then I get to the next framed photo, and my heart turns to stone. It's him. The shot is of 6-year-old Callie, with Deimos' arms slung around her shoulders, and he's positively glaring into the camera. My pulse thuds in my veins as I swallow thickly. He must only be something like 12 in that photo. 12, And he's already got the look of a combat veteran with several hellish tours of duty under his belt. The look of a full-grown man who knows death far too intimately. The haunted look of the very devil himself. My devil, staring right into my soul. I swallowed the sudden hard lump in the back of my throat with a largish gulp of bubbly. That same ominous feeling, like I had when I first walked in, returns with a vengeance. It's as if having a picture of him here has conjured his malevolent spirit here too. It's like I can feel him, like I can sense him. A dark, inky spirit of death, slipping between the branches of a gnarled tree, with outstretched claws ready to sink into my jugular. I shiver in the chilly fall air and start to go back to the warmth of the heat lamps and the smiles of my friends. But I don't make it, because the second I turn, something tall, dark, and venomous slides between me and everyone else, like a dark cloud blotting out the moon, like a dragon swallowing the sun, like black ink on wet paper, slowly bleeding into the pulp. Something broad-shouldered and looming, with fierce dark eyes, chiseled cheekbones, and a lethally sharp jaw. Something that smells like bergamot, pine, leather, and spice, with black tattoos swirling like warning signs up his neck. Something with a lean, muscled arm, with the sleeve rolled halfway up that stabs out, stealing my breath and arresting my pulse, when a powerful hand wraps its iron grip around my throat. Everything dims. The rest of the world goes silent and frozen, as Deimos lowers his terrifying and illegally beautiful face to my chilled and horrified one, his black eyes narrowed at me like death itself.
Exactly what the fuck are you doing here?
Chapter 2. Dahlia. I knew the risks. It was a little over a year ago, after that third time hanging out with Callie. We just had an absolute blast, screaming our way through Madonna, Taylor Swift, and the Talking Heads at karaoke. I was back home, sweaty from all the dancing, hoarse and slightly buzzed, when my phone lit up with the friend request. That's when the record scratched, and my heart went still, when I realized that the Callie I'd been having such a grand time with all night was Calliope, as in Calliope Drakos. I'd even checked her profile just to be sure, but of course it was obvious in seconds, from the family pictures and the also friends with section, where his dark black eyes lanced right out of my phone screen and straight into my very soul. It was a frozen moment, one that I knew, even a little drunk, was my fork in the road. I could ignore the friend request and let our fledgling friendship fizzle before it even got started. I could fade away and make damn sure I'd never chance crossing paths with Deimos again. Or I could take a breath and an even bigger leap. Obviously, that's what I did. I hit accept friend request, and the rest, as they say, is history. Part of it was that I really liked Callie. Another part was that, as I've said, I've never had an easy time making friends. And now my group of 2, Eilish and Nev, could potentially expand to 3 whole friends. But another big part of it was my obsession with riding the line between excitement and fear. My ill-advised need to tiptoe as close to the edge of the cliff as possible, feeling the tug of gravity right before it yanks you over into the abyss. So, no. I didn't befriend Callie or allow myself to be welcomed into her family without knowing the risk. I knew, deep down, that there was a chance I'd find myself in front of him again, even if I played as carefully as I could. I have a social media presence, but I don't have any photos of myself up, nor do I use my real last name of Roy. That's not because of Deimos either. I've done that since before my brief time at Night's Blood. Because there's way too many demons in my past to make it wise for me to put pictures of myself up on the internet. But even still, even with no photographs, and my new friends knowing how I felt about that, and honoring my request not to post any pictures with me in them, and even with using the obviously fake Dahlia Galia instead of Dahlia Roy on my profile, there were risks, and I knew them. And I still took that step out over the edge. And now, gravity is coming for revenge, for cheating it all this time. My pulse jangles in my ears, the color fading from my face as I lift my wide eyes to his lethal, menacing dark orbs. I remember thinking when I first laid eyes on him that they were like a shark's eyes, midnight black and glinting with a dangerous edge, just like the teeth that come with them. And in this moment, just like any other time I've ever found myself locking eyes with this devil, it's like I lose the ability even to move. I've been a complete idiot. There's no running from Deimos. There's not even any blinking around Deimos, or breathing, or remembering how to force your mouth to make words. His lips curl up dangerously at the corners, but it's not a smile. It's not even one of the supremely off-putting grins I've seen on his face before. It's pure malice, sheer anger, utter destruction. It's war, famine, pestilence, and death, all four horsemen of the apocalypse together, etched across his face and haunting the black shadows in his eyes. He's classically beautiful, too, which I always thought was an outrageously fucked-up thing for Chance to have done to a man like him. That something so malicious and devious, someone so cold and calculating and inhuman inside, could have won the genetic lottery and have such a physically perfect exterior. Full lips, a strong, sharp jawline with high cheekbones and deep-set eyes. The shock of dark hair which only makes his pale skin look even paler, almost supernaturally so. The height and the broad shoulders, the muscles, the tattoo snaking up his neck and down his forearms. The flash of completely straight white teeth, like a wolf before the pounce and the tearing of the jugular. That's what he is, and what he's always been. A wolf. A beast masquerading as a human being.
I'm going to ask this one more time,
he rumbles quietly, his deep, rasping voice like leather and velvet, like smoke and whiskey as it teases into my ears. I choke back a gasp as his strong fingers and veined hands tighten just a little more around my throat. The overhead string lights glint in his eyes.
What the fuck are you? D!
The change is instantaneous. Deimos has never once been accused of being remotely charming, smiley, or jovial, and plenty of people have been unnerved by him, if not more than a little scared. But I know I'm one of a very select group who've truly seen the darkness behind the mask. I've looked the devil in the eye and seen the true psychotic nature he hides behind that beautiful face. It's Ares who interrupts us. And the second his voice hits Deimos's back, the looming, throbbing malevolence on his face fades to its normal, stony coldness. His hand drops from my neck, leaving pulsing tingles of danger on my skin as his darkness rearranges itself into its usual blank facial expression. He turns away from me as Ares approaches, and it's not until those eyes stop looking into mine that I realize I've been unable to breathe since they first eviscerated me.
Ares,
he says calmly, even smiling a little as he extends a hand. His brother rolls his eyes, knocking Deimos's hand away and hugging him fiercely.
Dude, I wasn't sure if you were actually going to come.
Well, here I am, Deimos growls quietly, with all the excitement of someone attending a funeral.
Callie's going to freak, bro. She doesn't know I was trying to set this up.
Ares grins at his brother before his eyes slip past him to me.
Oh, shit. Have you met Dahlia? She's one of Callie's besties these days.
Deimos turns away from his brother and back to me. And once again, those eyes stab right into me as the darkness throbs under his face. The change from semi-normal to psycho, from my eyes only, is so abrupt that I physically flinch and find myself backing up against the table full of pictures. My throat works as I vainly try to swallow the cold knot that is instantly formed there.
Is she now?
Deimos murmurs, flaying me alive with a look. I say nothing. I can't. Not while he's looking at me like that.
Hey, come on over.
Ares tugs on Deimos' arm, chuckling.
Kelly's going to lose her shit, man.
He pulls his younger brother away, heading in the direction of the rest of the party. Deimos hurls one last cold, piercing look at me, with all the force of a Class 5 hurricane. And then he's turning away, and Callie is shrieking in surprise. I have to get the hell out of here. Now. My fatal error is stopping by the kitchen before I leave. My hands are shaking as I pull open the wine fridge and pull out one of the dozen or so bottles of champagne chilling inside. I pop the cork deftly and quietly with the help of a hand towel, and then pour generously, with hands that are still shaking, into a plain water glass. My pulse is still thudding in my veins as I lean on the counter by the farmhouse-style porcelain sink and knock back half of my glass. This was a huge mistake. I never should have come.
I'm curious.
I almost choke. The champagne stops halfway down as my throat closes, making me sputter and wince as I finally manage to swallow it awkwardly. My face goes white as I whirl, my heart thudding, to see Deimos and his wrath filling the doorway. Oh, God. It was dark outside, but in here, with the lights on, I can see every detail on his cold, beautiful face. Every dangerous, toxic, monstrous detail. It's been 6 years since I last saw him, and in that time, I swear, he's only grown darker, more gorgeous, and more hauntingly terrifying than before. His face is a little older and a little more etched. His eyes are a little colder and fiercer. His body is bigger and more muscled. Definitely more muscled. The dark energy swirling around him is the same, though, like a bomb about to explode. His lips curve up. Again, it's not a grin or a smile. It's not even a deliberately scary smile meant to instill fear or suggest a threat. It's just as if there's so much malice in his face that the sheer toxicity of it pulls at his facial muscles. Just the lips, though. Cover his mouth, and you'd never in a million years guess that his lips were curled up this way.
Exactly what are we celebrating here?
He rasps, nodding at my glass in one hand and the bottle of champagne in the other. Before I can even open my mouth in an attempt to speak, or before I can think to escape, he crosses the kitchen toward me. And then, there's no way I'm running. There's no way I'm physically able to. I'm frozen to the spot, like his gaze is a spear through my heart, pinning me to the counter behind me. He doesn't rush, either. He knows that I know I'm caught, and he approaches like a tiger, padding with amusement toward a prey that's already lost all ability to flee. I swallow, or try to at least, but I can't even do that. Never mind speak as he moves closer and closer, until he's looming over me, mere inches away. His dark eyes stab down into mine, freezing my pulse.
Well,
I shiver.
I recall you having no issue speaking before, Dahlia.
He growls. My name coming from his lips sounds like a curse.
So, unless you've gone mute, and if you have, we most certainly do have reason to celebrate, then I'm curious why it is you seem to be unfucking able to articulate precisely why it is you are in my grandmother's house, drinking her champagne and mingling with my fucking family.
Speak. Say something. Anything. Give him anything. I swallow. I was just leaving. His face curdles into a snarl.
The fuck you are.
Wait, what? I promise, I whisper. This was a mistake. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Fear has me rambling. His proximity has my brain glitching out like the Matrix. I'm going now, I promise. I knew the risk. I didn't care. I was blinded by my desire to finally have friends. "I'm leaving."
"Ah, not mute,"
he murmurs almost to himself, like he's making a scientific observation.
"But maybe you've had a head injury, or something genetic has turned you fucking stupid."
"I'm not stupid!" I spit it with utter clarity, my voice laced with fury. It's an automatic response over which I have no control, because being told I'm stupid, or being questioned as if I am, is a huge trigger point for me. It's been like that since grade school, after Nasa died, and Mom and I were finally free from his wrath and reach. She enrolled me in this super ritzy and exclusive private school for London's most gifted and promising young students. Because, as it happened, I am very smart. A little too smart, to be honest. Except, gifted and promising, in most cases, really just meant filthy rich and insufferable. And when those little shits found out who I was, and who my parents were, it was open fucking season on Dahlia Roy. Back then, I'd completely shut down in the face of any bullying. So when they'd lay into me, I'd close myself off and stop talking. Which of course only got them accusing me of being deaf or mute. But then they found their favorite one. That I wasn't responding to their bullying because I was stupid. It lasted until I was in year 10. At that point, I was a year younger than everyone else in my grade. I was at the top of the class by a mile, and I had 0 friends. That's also the year I stopped accepting it when people called me stupid. One of my teachers, a Mrs. Willard, found me in the bathroom one day, trying to get the chocolate milk that one of my bullies had dumped all over me out of my uniform. And I'll never forget what she told me.
"Dahlia, my dear, there are a lot of things those little beasts, and other older beasts, can and will call you over the course of your life. Some of it may be true, even if it's cruel and beyond your control. But you are not, and you never will be, stupid. Don't let them have that one."
A week later, I got my first and only detention for hitting a girl for calling me just that. The bullying never really stopped entirely, but after that they stuck with rape baby, mafia whore, and the rest of it, and they never called me stupid again. I never once regretted the decision that led to that detention, but the second I open my mouth and spit the words at Deimos, I feel nothing but regret. His eyes narrow, and his outrageously perfect lips curve into the closest thing to a smile he gets, which is, objectively, genuinely terrifying.
"There it is,"
he purrs roughly, his teeth flashing.
"There's that fight I remember so well."
I swallow with difficulty. Just let me go, please. I'll leave right now, okay? I choke out. And I've never said anything to anyone about—
"And as I said,"
he growls,
"you're not going fucking anywhere. In fact, you're going to walk back the fuck out there, sit your ass in a chair at the table, and stay until you're the last fucking one here."
My brows knit.
"It would seem," he snaps, "that you've ignored every threat you knew damn well I could make good on, and wormed your way into Callie's good graces."
My face pales. I never meant to. It was an accident.
"I don't fucking care."
The pure venom in his tone feels like a blade across my skin.
"You're not leaving, because accident or not, though I haven't the slightest fucking clue how you accidentally befriend someone. You seem, for some inexplicable reason, to be one of her nearest and dearest these days. And if you ghost her party on her fucking birthday and make my baby sister sad, believe me, there is no length to which I will not go to make you severely regret it."
I gasp as he surges into me until our bodies are literally touching. I shudder, feeling the rippling muscles and sheer power of him throbbing against me as his powerful arms shoot to either side of me, caging me against the counter behind me.
"And I know you're clear exactly how far that is."
It's at that precise moment that movement catches my eye. I flinch, my eyes somehow ripping away from his, to look past his looming broad shoulders, to where Callie is standing in the doorway to the kitchen, with a puzzled expression on her face. "Callie!" I croak out her name. Instantly, Deimos stiffens, his lips curling in a dangerous snarl. But then his hands drop from the counter, and I watch, transfixed, as the psycho look on his face melts back into its usual unemotional state, just like it did with Ares. He smiles thinly at his sister, who frowns curiously before glancing back to me again. I swallow, feeling my face heat. "I was just looking for the bathroom," I blurt. I cringe the second I utter it, realizing how fucking stupid it sounds, given that I've been to Callie's house 50 or so times. Callie looks like she can't tell if she's amused, confused, or concerned. It's still where it was the last dozen times you've been over here?" "Oh, right. Yeah, thanks." I slip away from Deimos, though I swear I can still feel his malevolent energy clawing at me, trying to drag me back. But I power through those feelings as I turn to go, shooting Callie a quick and slightly awkward look. "Happy birthday," I blurt. "Great party." In the guest bathroom, I shut the door, lock it, then sink against it, my heart hammering a mile a minute in my chest. I exhale heavily and feel the tension twisting my muscles slowly uncoil. I shudder as I move to the sink, running cold water as I grip the sides of the marble vanity. My hands slip under the chilly stream, and I lean down and gasp sharply as I splash a little cold water on my cheeks, gently so as not to wreck my makeup, then reach for a towel. I blot my face with slow, careful pats before I pull the towel away. My eyes meet my own reflection in the mirror, and I shiver. How the fuck will I survive this? I only barely survived Deimos Drakos the first time, and the only way I did was to swear he'd never see me again. Now I've broken that promise. Will he break his? I swallow the lump in my throat as I look into my own eyes again. I'm hoping to see strength, or bravery, or resolution, but all I see is fear. Not the good kind either. Not the kind that discovers fire, or makes sure you look both ways before crossing the street. I just see cold, naked, dangerous fear. I see a little girl, still scared of the dark and the things that go bump in it. Things like him.
Chapter 3. Deimos. I loathe this city. The way it smells. The way it lingers on my skin, like an oily residue that takes weeks to get rid of even after I leave. I'm aware that shitting on New York City doesn't make me unique, but my reasons for shitting on this godforsaken place might set me apart from the rest. I don't hate New York because it has a constant hard-on for itself, though it does, and that gets real old real fucking fast. I don't hate it for its pretentiousness, or its naked corruption. Nor do I hate it for the subway rats and cockroaches, or the junkies, hustlers, and predators that prowl its streets. No. I hate the city I was born in because it's here that I died, in a sense, when I was 12. It's here that I learned far too young that hell was all too real. My siblings all glommed onto this fucking city like it was Rome at the height of the Roman Empire. But me? I couldn't get away fast enough. First to Knightsblood University, and then to England, when our father, may God piss on his grave, moved the Drakos Empire to London for a while. After his death, and what happened to our uncle Vasilis here, my siblings couldn't wait to move back to New York. But I couldn't wait to never see it again in my life. And that was before I knew Dahlia fucking Roy was part of the equation.
What the fuck was that all about?
I frown, blinking as I raise my eyes to Callie. I've missed my baby sister. I mean, yes, I've missed all my siblings. And our grandmother, of course. But Callie and I are the two youngest. And even though I'm 6 years older than her, I'm the closest to her age, which had a way of making us partners in crime when we were younger. It's sobering to see that baby sister of mine standing in front of me as a 21-year-old woman. Deimos. I smile, lifting a non-committal shoulder at her pointed and obvious question. Just introducing myself to your friend, Callie. She squints at me suspiciously. Of all of them, Callie comes the closest to seeing the real me. Probably because I was the closest to her when we were young, before whatever I'd been born with for a soul was torn from me. Maybe it's because she's the only girl. Or maybe it's because my mask and my walls aren't quite as strong with her as they are with Ares, Hades, and Kratos. Why was Dahlia scared of you? I smile a little more broadly as I stroll over to her, forcing the darkness and the monster back into its carefully forged cage as I pat her on the shoulder. Everyone's scared of me. Callie rolls her eyes. Don't do that, Dee. Do what? That thing where you pretend everything's fine when it clearly is not. Shit. I've been away from her too long. I'd forgotten my sister has always been a bloodhound when it comes to sniffing things out. She's also direct to a fault, with all the tact and subtlety of a pipe bomb. You're imagining things, Cals. I grunt, with as charming a smile as I can muster. Which isn't very charming. Okay, but why are you even talking to her? I'm not talking to her. I'm talking to you. She glares at me again, but I just smile and squeeze her shoulder. See you out there, birthday girl. I've been more than content to live in London, drowning myself in the rigors of running the entirety of our family's European empire by myself. Honestly, it's a testament to my love for Callie that I came to this hellhole of a city tonight at all. I'm not sure I'd have come back for any of my brother's birthdays. And if I'd known Dahlia was going to be standing in my goddamn house with my fucking family, I abso-fucking-lutely wouldn't have come. That's for damn sure. Back out at the party, I smile when I should, laugh when the others do, and make jokes in my own dry way. I'm hugging Yaya, my grandmother, when I look up just in time to see a white-faced Dahlia timidly step back out into the gardens. My jaw grinds. I'd love to say it's another testament to my love for my sister that I quite literally told Dahlia in no uncertain terms not to leave. To stay. For the sake of my sister and her birthday, instead of throwing her off the fucking roof myself. But while I can lie as easily as breathing to the rest of the world, when it comes to myself, I'm brutally and nakedly honest. I'm incapable of lying to me, myself, and I, or convincing myself of a non-truth, even if it helps to soothe the pain or save me from myself. I wish I could, but I can't. Not even when it comes to Dahlia. The thing is, there's no lie with her. There's just two opposing, mutually exclusive truths. One, that I hate her. And I don't mean dislike intensely, I mean hate. I hate that behind that poor little girl with the tragic backstory but a heart of gold and a plucky attitude bullshit, she hides a venomous snake. She's a thief of truth. A conniving little cunt who got as deep into me as anyone or any weapon ever has, and I loathe her for that. Almost as much as I loathe New York. But then there's the second truth. That in the process of cutting her way into me, Dahlia Roy flayed herself open to me as well, in a way no person ever had before, or has ever since. And try as I might, and holy fuck have I tried. She refuses to leave my subconsciousness. Like a nasty little addiction, an obsession I can't shake. And I hate that 6 years on, far after I should have purged her from my system, she still lives rent-free in my goddamn head. Like a tumor. A disease, a plague. And yet, despite all that, when I see her step outside, I smile in spite of myself. I like that she's heard my threat and heeded it well. She hasn't run. She hasn't ghosted Callie on her birthday because of her own fear of me. Now I just need to figure out what the fuck I'm going to do about that. She probably should have left. No, scratch that. She absolutely should have left. And run. And kept on running until this city and my goddamn family were far, far behind her. But she didn't. Yaya pulls away with a final pat of my cheek. She walks over to a little silver bell hanging from the arbor, beneath which the dinner table is stunningly laid with candles, boughs of greens, flowers, shimmering silver confetti, and lavish food and wine. "Now we eat," she crows, clearly a glass deeper into the champagne than she'd usually allow herself to get, which is precisely when I make my move. It's a subtle one, nothing overt or crazy. But humans are so much easier to herd and control in subtle ways than any of us like to believe. We all think we're the masters of our own choices, free thinkers, the lot of us. But we're not. We're sheep. Well, most people are. Even the ones I love. Some of us are wolves. The crowd of family and friends begins to walk over to the table that I happen to be closest to. And so I do one simple move. I reach down, pluck up one of the forks, and set it on top of the salad plate it's sitting next to. Then without batting an eye, I round the table to find a seat directly across from it, where I sit and wait, like a crocodile lying just beneath the surface, waiting for its prey. There's no place cards. The rest of my family and their friends and significant others take whatever seats they like around the table. Aries sits next to Nev. Her sister Eilish sits beside her newish beau, Gavin Zarenko, head of the Reznikov Bratva. He and I actually have some friends in common, though it's unclear if he's aware of that yet. I nod at Killian Kildare when he and Una take seats almost directly across from me. I know more about him than I'm sure he realizes. Because that's what I do. I watch people. I learn about them and their darkest secrets and memorize the things I'm sure they'd rather keep to themselves. Killian, for example, is a lot like me. Dangerously so, in fact. I believe the current fashionable term is neurodivergent. Personally, I'm quite fine with the old word they used to use for people like Killian and me. Psychopaths. Killian keeps his true nature hidden about as well as I do, though not quite as well. Those closest to him, Una, his nieces Nev and Eilish, and his number 2, Castle, who I gather is basically family to him at this point, are aware of what Killian truly is. Or at least, mostly aware. None of my family knows what I am. They never will. I glance down the table to where Callie is, to my laser-focused mind, painfully obviously saving the seat next to her. I even know who it's for. And when he, Castle James, that is, looks right at it, and then right at her before moving to the opposite end of the table, I allow myself a smug feeling. Not, obviously, because of the crestfallen look on Callie's face that she tries to chase away with wine. Even more obviously, if I didn't know for a fact that this crush she has on Castle isn't the least bit reciprocated. He and I would already be at the far end of the rooftop, where I'd be showing him the express route down to Central Park. Again, I know everything. And I don't mean that to sound arrogant. It's merely the truth. Although, yes, I suppose a bit of arrogance sort of comes with the territory with my neurodivergence. Or if we're being blunter, non-societally conforming psychopathic tendencies with a ludicrously high IQ, childhood demons up the ass, and a god complex. And I won't ever apologize for any of that. Soon enough, just about everyone has seats. My lips curve up just a hint at the corners as I drop my gaze to the still empty chair across from me. As I said, humans are sheep. Clearly, there's nobody sitting there. But all it took was one thing off. In this case, a fork out of place on the otherwise perfectly laid table, for everyone to unanimously pass on this one seat. Slowly, my eyes drag up to where Dahlia has just stepped under the string lights of the arbor. She was furthest away from the table when Yaya rang the bell. There's now exactly one seat left. She swallows as she comes to a stop right behind it. Her eyes raise to mine, and she trembles a little when she realizes I'm staring right at her. "Dahlia, please," I say, gesturing with a hand. "Why don't you have a seat and join us?" She just stands there, and I look at her so hard it's a wonder she doesn't spontaneously combust. But of course the moment is lost on the rest of them as they all dig into their dinners. I even join in, letting Dahlia finally take her seat and sit there knowing I've got her exactly where I want her. And I can tell she's so discombobulated by my even being here that she's incapable of talking to anyone around her, or taking a bite of food, or even a sip of champagne. I, on the other hand, readily and easily carry on a lively conversation with Hades and Elsa to my left. My older brother's been a hellraiser his entire life, but I have to admit, Elsa Gwyn seems to have, well, I won't say quelled that, because one, no one's capable of doing that to Hades, and two, because he'd never fall for someone who tamed him, or made him into something he's not, or any of that bullshit. But what she has done, it's clear to me, is complete him. I won't lie, I envy that. Or at least I understand that I should envy that. But even as I chat with Elsa about her recent promotion to partner status at Crown & Black, the law firm which bears the name of my own personal attorney, Alistair Black, my attention is half directed across the table to Dahlia. And I hate that it is. I want so badly to erase her from my psyche. To forget her completely and be done with it. To not have my attention pulled to her over and over again like a moth to a deadly flame. But 6 years on, it appears I'm still incapable of doing any of that. It doesn't help that in those 6 years she's gone from beautiful to stunning. She's grown more into herself than when she was a somewhat shy 19-year-old, when we were at Night's Blood together. She's grown into a woman I'm quite honestly having a hard time keeping my eyes away from. Dahlia's mother is French, and her father was Iranian. She was blessed with the best of both gene pools. Full, dark brows and lashes that match the mane of thick black hair falling past her shoulders in waves. High, aristocratic cheekbones and an elfin chin. A lean, regal nose, plump, swollen red lips, and big green eyes. For a moment, I pull myself away from my conversation with Elsa and Hades, turning my head and allowing my eyes to stab across the table into Dahlia. Instantly, something sours in my core. Because as gorgeous as she is, and as alluring her whole little tragic backstory innocent with a heart of gold shtick is, I now know what I didn't know back when I tangled with her 6 years ago. That the woman, despite all of her beauty, is poison. A toxin. A deadly venom for which there is no antidote. An incurable, transmitted on contact terminal disease. 6 years ago, I didn't know that. But I sure as fuck do now. After I saw the truth. Or rather, after I was shown the truth in high definition where it burned itself into my brain, like the shadows of the dead on the sidewalks at Hiroshima, destroying what I believed I knew about a girl I thought I understood, who I thought understood me. 6 years ago, I told her to run. I told her to stay the fuck away. She really should have listened to me. Because now, I turn fully, letting my piercing gaze eviscerate her across the table. Her eyes meet mine, and a shiver runs over her body as her face goes chalk white. Now, I'll destroy her.
Chapter 4. Dahlia. 6 years ago. You know she's a rape baby, right? I flinch, stopping in my tracks just before rounding the corner to my dorm room. My face contorts, biting back the pain as the sound of other girls laughing fills the high-ceilinged hallways. It's not the first time I've heard the term used to describe me, but it still hurts. It still sucks to hear it out loud, especially when it's immediately followed by cruel laughter and ridicule. You know that makes her a total slut too, right? Tell me about it. Amanda groans with a knowing tone. Why do you think I barely ever sleep in my own dorm room? My mouth pulls to a thin line as anger and hurt boil inside of me. My roommate Amanda spends half her nights out of our room because she's in someone else's room. Several someone else's, actually. The rape baby comment is callous and horrible, but at least it's rooted in fact. Being labeled a slut who apparently keeps my roommate out of our shared space because of my endless sexcapades, however, is firmly rooted in fiction. Except, it's one of life's greatest catch-22s for a woman. If I own up to the fact that I'm a 19-year-old virgin, then I'll be branded a weirdo, a freak, a prude. We're talking serious, no wonder you don't have any friends, Dahlia, territory. But then again, not being a virgin apparently makes you a whore and a slut. There's literally no winning in this situation, and it fucking sucks. Also, her mom is totally one of those Instagram whores who gets flown out to Dubai to fuck rich Saudi guys for money. Enough is enough. My blood turns to fire. I'll put up with the sneering looks and mean girl comments. I'll put up with having no friends here, because I fully appreciate that just being here at Knightsblood University is a privilege and a huge advantage. I'll even put up with the fact that my roommate Amanda is the leader of the meanest mean girls on campus, and apparently decided before we ever even met that I was the shit on the sole of her precious Louboutins. But my mother is a superhero, and 1/10 of the horrors she's overcome in her life would have broken fucking Amanda in half. This is my goddamn line in the sand. I'm not by nature a violent person, or even a confrontational one, but my fists ball up as I start to lurch around the corner. That is, until one last comment slaps me sideways. Well, like mother, like daughter. You know she's probably doing the same thing. Probably just a matter of time before someone puts a fucking rape baby in her, too. I blanch, bile rising in my throat as they all start to laugh. Yeah, well, it's not rape if they're willing, is it? Amanda snickers. You know she wants it all the time with anybody. Jarring lights flash like strobes in my vision. My brain glitches, my breath choking off as my throat closes up. The hallway spins as I find myself falling back against the wall, clutching at my chest. You know you want this, pretty girl. Air. I need air. All of the fight floods out of me as I whirl and bolt down the hall, bag in hand. Outside the dormitory, I go stumbling past other students who stare at me like the crazy, has no business being here girl that they all already see me as. But I don't care. My feet pick up the pace until I'm sprinting across one of the greens, far away from the sprawling, Beautiful Jacobean revival and Georgian-style towers and buildings of Knight's Blood University. I crashed through a glade of trees, and then across another green, running first past the riding stables, and then some further outbuildings. Blundering through another glade, I finally come tumbling out beside a sprawling rose garden full of hedges, old crumbling walls and statues, and a fountain. It's only here that I finally pause, my breath coming fast and sweat slicking my back. I've never been to this part of the campus before. When I stop running, it's like all the emotions I've been fleeing finally catch up to me. An enormous sob rips from my chest as I wipe away a tear, moving quietly toward the rose garden. Fuck Amanda. And fuck the rest of them. Fuck this whole goddamn snooty, moneyed, connected school. The worst part is, in a lot of ways, I was really looking forward to being here. Knight's Blood is one of those places that most people haven't even heard of. But then, most people aren't the type who come here. Ostensibly, Knight's Blood is an old-money, old-school private college nestled on the wooded, quaint southern shore of Connecticut, just like 100 other such private schools. But there's nothing quite like Knight's Blood. Because the students who come here aren't just rich and connected. They're connected. As in, made. Mafia, Bratva, Yakuza, Cosa Nostra, cartel. Not all of them directly, of course. I mean, look at me. But in a way, almost every student here comes from money, power, and criminal connections. I have absolutely no idea how the entire criminal world unanimously and spontaneously decided to start sending their heirs and offspring 30 miles north of Manhattan to the idyllic and preppy Gold Coast. But here we are. Personally, I'm here thanks to my mother's money, a little bit because of my Uncle Adrian's reputation as one of the biggest crime bosses in the UK, and a lot because of Gerard's influence. Gerard is Mum's new husband, and I never thought I'd say this, but I adore him. I also never thought my mother would ever date again, never mind get married. Not after my father, or after what happened 7 years ago. I shiver, pushing that dark cloud away. No, that's over. It's done. He's dead. They both are. Mom's monster and mine. I exhale slowly as I step into the quiet rows of roses and statues. My phone dings. When I pull it out, I smile curiously at the text that pops up. Chase. I had a great time getting lunch with you yesterday. I'd love to do that again sometime soon. My teeth drag across my bottom lip. Starting fresh at any new school as an outsider sucks. Believe me, I know. I've done it enough times. But Knight's Blood has been extra. Extra hard, extra shitty, extra mean. Extra keen to make sure I understand I do not belong here. Message heard loud and clear, fuckers. My roommate and her shitty friends have been the worst, clearly. Then there's the faceless classmates and upperclassmen who don't even look at me. Raphael, my new stepbrother, is here, and he's pretty nice. But we don't really know each other that well. And besides, he's got his own thing going on, his own group of friends. Plus, he's a year older, so we hardly ever run into each other. But curiously, there's one person who always goes out of his way to smile at me, to notice me, to say hello. And he's the least likely of them all. Chase freaking Cavendish. Charming, charismatic, outrageously handsome, rich, and the toast of the entire school. He's also a senior and the president of Parabellum, which is a huge deal. Right, that's another thing about Knight's Blood. This school loves its semi-secret student clubs, which are really more like factions, or tribes, or gangs. There are 4 of them: Parabellum, the Order, Ouroboros Society, and the Reckless. And considering that Chase is the head of the numero uno club on campus, the star quarterback, and the student body president, The fact that he seems to be actively courting me, taking me out to lunch, texting me, going out of his way to cross paths with me is odd, to say the least. I mean, I'm me. Weird, shy, unpopular, quirky, shitty backstory. Chase is the Jake Ryan to my Samantha Baker. But real life isn't a John Hughes movie. The popular jock doesn't actually ever fall for the weird nerd. There aren't any improbable happy endings, comic sidekicks, or heroes. I swallow, shivering a little as something electric prickles up my spine. There's no heroes, but there are villains. My cheeks flush as my thoughts drift all the way to the other end of the spectrum from Chase Cavendish. You see, as popular and loved as he is, Chase isn't the only prince at this school. There are two of them. One a golden prince of light, that would be Chase, and another one, the exact opposite of him, a prince of darkness, a dark, swirling, malevolent force of nature that I've tried to stay away from ever since the day school started. Not just because almost everyone on campus seems to be scared of him, which, by extension, makes me a little scared of him too, but because he doesn't quite scare me as much as I know he should. And because even when he does scare me, he also excites me in traitorous, dangerous ways. Deimos Drakos. He's the polar opposite of Chase. Dark and gloomy, cold and malicious. Where Chase is the charming, smiling quarterback, Deimos is the snarling, chilling, antisocial shadow who eschews sports and other student organizations, though it's rumored that he's the undisputed king of the alleged underground fights that happen on the occasional weekend night. Chase's family is only loosely connected to the Mafia, in that his father runs a hedge fund that happens to invest and move a lot of money for the Mexican cartels and the Italian Mafia. But Deimos's family literally is the Mafia, Greek specifically, and powerful at that. Where Chase is the president of Parabellum, Deimos is the ruling mad king of the Reckless, the club most fundamentally opposite Parabellum. Parabellum is full of the golden and gilded stars of the school, sports team captains, oldest heirs to powerful families, top students. The Reckless is where the damned and the devious end up. Two princes, one light, one dark, with absolutely nothing in common. Except one thing. It's nothing I can prove, nothing I know for an absolute fact. But deep down in the throb of my pulse and the pit of my gut, I know. What they have in common is an interest in me. Chase is overt about it. Meanwhile, Deimos has never once spoken to me. I don't think I've ever seen him even looking in my direction. But somehow, I know he's interested. I can sense it. Like claws dragging down your window at night that are gone when you go to look. Like the creak of a floorboard behind you, which is only a shadow when you whir with a gasp. With a sigh, I sink onto one of the stone benches in the rose garden. I drop my head back against the ivy-covered stone wall at my back and close my eyes, grateful for a moment of peace, finally, which is, of course, when my phone dings. Raphael.
Fuck, I am so sorry, Dahlia.
My brows furrow.
Me.
For? Raphael.
Shit, don't go on NightNet.
Almost all social media is blocked on campus for the security of the students who go here. Instead, the school has a somewhat lame, dated message board-style social site accessible only to students, which, of course, I immediately log on to. And instantly regret. It's the top post, right at the very top of my screen, and my heart stops. It's a picture from some porn site of a woman in a hijab, on her knees with her boobs out, holding a monstrously large dick in each of her hands. Someone's photoshopped my face onto hers. I can't tell if I want to scream or throw up or both. It's a combination of disgust at seeing my face on something so vile together with rage at the obviously intended racist element. I'm not the least bit religious, and I've never once worn a hijab. But of course, that's the cheap, easy dig they go for when they come after me. The man who raped my mother was Iranian. So, let's bring on the shitty, racist hijab jokes. I almost throw my phone. But instead, I lurch to my feet, grab the closest rock off the ground, and spin around, hurling it against the stone wall I've just been leaning my head against. And then I pause, my brow furrowing. My thrown rock has bounced off the wall and rolled away. But right next to where it struck, one of the bigger ivy-covered stones set into the wall has moved and is now pushing out a little. The fuck? Peering curiously at it, I walk over and grip it between my fingertips. It slides out easily. Instantly, my brows lift. Whoa. The space behind the rock I've just slid out of the wall isn't empty or full of bugs and dirt. There's a book sitting there, small and battered, with a faded orange leather cover and one of those elastic straps keeping it closed. When I take it in my hands and open it, I blink. It's a diary. No name. No, this book belongs to. No phone number in case it's found. And even though I know I'm not meant to read it, my eyes drop to the first words on the first page. Sometimes I feel as if I'm the only real person, wandering a whole planet of replicas. A single fish in a tank, with the glass painted to look like the ocean around me. I'm instantly hooked. I sit on the bench, and I read until the sun begins to set, devouring every single handwritten word. Eventually, when the shadows begin to lengthen and the sky begins to darken, I realize it's time to go, knowing that I'll be back. I carefully put the book back exactly as I found it and slide the rock back into place before I pick up my bag and walk out of the garden. I head through the glade of trees, across one of the fields, and then plunge through another thick clump of woods on my way back to my dorm. When suddenly, something dark materializes out of the trees right in front of me. I gasp, my heart leaping into my throat and stifling my scream as I lurch backward. My eyes widen as they lift up to his, and something explodes in my core. A mix of terror and excitement, fear and curiosity. Run or stay? My mind can't decide. But as the seconds tick by with me staring up through the gathering darkness into Deimos's eyes, I realize I'm not sure if it's that I can't run right now, or that I simply don't want to. I'm not sure which is more terrifying a thought. Seconds turn into almost a full minute. Neither of us says a thing as we stand there, barely 3 feet apart in the rapidly darkening woods. I try to swallow, but I can't. I wet my lips, and his eyes focus on the motion, like a hawk spotting a mouse scurrying across a moonlit field. I am astonished that I actually managed to make a sound, even if it's just one syllable. One letter. One tiny utterance. I swallow again, shivering as his eyes stab into me, filling me with fear and something else, as I realize I'm completely alone in the woods with the terror of Nightblood University. Have you been spying on me? The words burst from my mouth even as I try to shove them back inside. Deimos says nothing, and the silence around us only grows. The cool air prickles my skin, yet my palm feels sweaty as it grips the strap of my school bag. I mean...
You don't belong here.
It's the first time I've ever heard him speak. His voice is like whiskey and leather. It's so much older than the rest of him, too. So much more weathered and stoic and world-weary than any 21-year-old has any right to be.
You shouldn't be here,
he growls, his voice rasping in a way that drags over me and electrifies my skin.
You should leave.
My jaw sets. Great. Yet another asshole at this school full of assholes who wants to chase me out of their little cool club. He might be a bit terrifying, and the cold, unblinking intensity in his eyes is more than slightly unsettling. But at the end of the day, Apparently, the infamous and dastardly king of the reckless is just another Class A jerk. Says who? I snap. His lips curl as his head tilts slightly to one side.
Says reality.
And then just like that, he disappears back into the woods. I whirl, my eyes scanning the now dark trees, waiting for him to jump out and scare the ever-living shit out of me. But it never happens. He's just really, actually gone. After that, I run, and I mean run, all the way back to the dorm. Mercifully, Amanda is out, but my bitch of a roommates made sure to print out a copy of the disgusting post on NightNet and tack it to our door. I rip it off and storm inside, flinging myself onto my bed. I'm not crying. I'm not shaking in fear from my run-in with the campus's resident devil. I'm just thinking about the little orange diary and the person who wrote it, who's just like me. Chapter 5. Dahlia. Present. I'll swap you my notes for Professor Carlson's European Financial Markets lecture for yours from that Strategic Innovation Roundtable thing with Professor Cho. I groan, slumping across the study room table between us as my eyes snap to Eilish. Fuckity fuck! I completely forgot that I still haven't done that analytics breakdown for Carlson's class for next week. Eilish winces. Oof, I did it a few days ago. It sucked. You want to copy mine? And get us both kicked out of school? I mean, not word for word, or even use my exact subject matter. She snickers. Just grab the framework for the breakdown presentation. I nod, frowning as I sort through the reams of study notes in front of me. Okay, yeah, I'll take you up on that. Thanks. Anytime. I shake my head. I don't know how the hell that slipped my mind. Except I do. I know exactly how and why it, and several other important things, if we're keeping score, have slipped my mind in the last few days. The easy excuse would be what's going on with my mum and Gerard. I mean, that's the obvious one. There's also, of course, the major shit that went down at the end of the evening at Callie's birthday party. Luca Carvelli, the slimy LA Mafia don she was betrothed to marry, is in fact dead. But Callie's birthday dinner wasn't even finished before the whole party got a visit from Massimo Carvelli, Luca's son, demanding that she marry him instead. That, too, isn't going to be happening. Because, cue the Mafia world chess moves, Killian stepped down as the head of the Kildare family, Castle's been made the new king of the family, and he and Callie are now about to get married in order to get out of any lingering contract she might have with the Carvelli family. I mean, I got a small taste of the drama in the Mafia world through Uncle Adrian and Aunt Celeste, and later at Night's Blood. But good Lord. Really? Eilish snorts sarcastically. You have no idea how you managed to forget to do some dumb busy work school project with everything you've got blowing up in your life right now? Like I said, those would be the easy reasons. My mum and Gerard. Callie suddenly marrying Eilish and Nev's ridiculously good-looking and much older former bodyguard to avoid a mob marriage. Yeah, those are big. But the biggest thing occupying the most real estate in my head right now is something else. Or should I say, someone else. Deimos. The ghost from my past, who sent me running with threats to never once look back. That same ghost that I told myself I could survive dealing with for one birthday dinner because he hates the city so much he'd be leaving as soon as it was over. But then he didn't. Maybe it was because of what went down with Massimo threatening Callie like that. In fact, that's almost definitely why Deimos is, apparently, staying in New York. But I can't help but wonder if there's another reason. As disgustingly narcissistic as it is to think it, given everything going on with Callie. But I can't help it. I can't help but wonder if part of the reason Deimos is still lurking in the city is me. Me and our past. What I saw. what I swore never to talk about, and in fact, never have. Sometimes I imagine a life where things played out differently. An alternate dimension where the events of my brief time at Knight's Blood played out more like a teen drama. Because for a while there, it was so perfectly scripted, so very Hunger Games or Twilight or Divergent. The girl with the troubled past, caught between the good boy and the bad one. It's pathetic. And super messed up, and probably speaks to a mental condition I'm not prepared to address in myself. But there were times back at school, after I first found that diary, where I used to imagine it was Deimos's. I used to fantasize that maybe, somehow, it was his journal I was reading, that it was his soul and innermost thoughts I was privy to, in a way I wasn't supposed to be, that he was the author of those dark and poetically brutal words, the words that at first I read and then later responded to, until it turned into a written conversation. For a while there, I was sure of it, that my mysterious diarist-turned-pen pal had to be him. I was wrong. Of course, I was wrong. Those words, speaking from a soul so very much like mine, belonged to another, a man who truly understood me, who saw me, a man I might have loved, until the night it all came crashing down, when Deimos killed him.
What in the fuck is strategic, conscientious synergy?
I start from my thoughts, just as Eilish groaned and looks up from her study notes. We both turn to glare at the source of the interruption. A tall, good-looking, built, tattooed guy, with dark hair and golden green eyes, sprawled in a chair by the study room door. Since Callie's birthday, both the Dracos and Kildare families have bulked up on security, which makes sense, considering the festivities were interrupted by Massimo Carvelli landing a freaking helicopter on Demetra's front lawn and threatening Callie. And that means that Gavin, being the obsessively overprotective fiancé that he is, which, not gonna lie, is crazy romantic, has his second-in-command, Carole, shadowing Eilish's every move, including her study time with yours truly. Needless to say, as much as she loves Gavin, Eilish isn't exactly thrilled about the shadow. Is that my copy of Global Business Strategy or Dahlia's? She mutters, narrowing her eyes at the massive textbook in Carole's tattooed hands. He shrugs and makes a face.
Honestly, no idea. This shit is gibberish, though.
Eilish rolls her eyes. Well, maybe you should join our class and then it would make sense, Carole. He snorts.
Yeah, me and formal education get along about as well as I can understand whatever the fuck this book is talking about.
Imagine that, Eilish mutters under her breath. Well, some of us need silence to study, so...
Right, heard loud and clear.
Carole glances at the front page of the book. It's my copy, before grinning and sliding it back onto the table next to my other coursework. I found dings. Shit, sorry. I wince, making a face as I snatch it up and turn off the ringer. The notification is for an email, though, so I thumb open my screen and bring it up. My eyes bulge when I read it. What? Eilish blurts, seeing the stunned look on my face. I got an internship. She shrieks. That's awesome! Congrats! The grin threatens to split my face in half. It is awesome. Landing a real business world internship isn't just a big part of our program, it's required. Eilish found herself a loophole and is technically interning at Gavin's company, which, yes, is sort of bullshit, because I'm guessing by her perpetual shit-eating grin these days that she's spending more of her time bent over a desk than working at one while she's at his office. But I'm really not mad about it. After all, she's one of my best friends, and with all the crap she and Gavin have gone through, yeah, she deserves it. Who's it with? She gushes, leaning across the table toward me with wide, excited eyes.
Thought some people needed silence to study.
Carol mutters to himself. Shush, you! Eilish rolls her eyes again, holding up a finger. She grins at me. Well? I scroll further down the email from my academic advisor. It's with... My brows knit together. Laconia Logistics? Eilish frowns. I don't think I know them. No. I shake my head. Me neither. She shrugs. Well, hey, at least it's an internship, right? Yeah. Except something's off with this. Eilish chuckles. Dude, it's just an internship. It's not like it needs to be with Facebook or a legacy company. It's just a course requirement. No, it's not that. My brows furrow as I glance up at her. It's just... I haven't submitted my final internship paperwork yet. As in, the paperwork required for the school and my advisor to place me in an internship at all. Eilish frowns. Well, you must have. I swear I didn't. I was still working on my personal mission statement.
What the hell is a personal mission?
The door is right there, Carol, Eilish mutters, jabbing a finger at it without looking away from me. Wait, you're positive you didn't? Completely. I was going to work on it tonight. Huh. Yeah. Huh is right. Well, screw it. She shrugs and grins at me. I mean, if your advisor says you got it, then you got it. Woohoo! Yeah, but... Hey, Dahlia? She smirks at me. Do me a favor and take the wins when they're served up to you on a silver platter, yeah? I roll my eyes and grin back. Facts. A second later, I'm firing off a reply email to my advisor, graciously accepting the internship with a company I've never heard of. Because Eilish is right. Sometimes you've just got to take the wins. And who knows? Maybe this is a sign that despite all the shit going down with Mum and Gerard, and all the craziness happening with Callie and Castle, and the looming presence of the devil himself lurking behind every corner I pass on the street, maybe things are going to be just fine after all.
Chapter 6. Deimos. 6 years ago. They'll be through here any second. Diego sucks on his imported Spanish cigarillo, his one and only brand because it literally bears his grandfather's name on the carton, before exhaling smoke out of the corner of his lips. We still doing this? Fuck yeah, we're still doing it. Ivan growls next to me. The three of us, Ivan, Diego, and I, are lying in wait behind one of the many hedgerows that meander across the Knight's Blood campus. Knight's Blood. What a fucking pretentious name for a school. From what I remember, vaguely, from freshman orientation, or perhaps it was in the literature I got in the mail before I arrived here, the place was founded in the early 1800s by scholars from some of England's finest universities. The original idea was to foster a true English university in America for the sons of lords, dukes, and other powerful, royally adjacent families who were immigrating here. A school to match the likes of Harvard, Yale, and Princeton in academic merit, while also maintaining a rigid and strict adherence to royal lineage. To the blood of king and crown, cross and knighthood. Hence, Knight's Blood. Over the years, it evolved, though some might use the word devolved. Some might say the very fact that you've heard quite a lot about Harvard, Yale, and Princeton, but nothing of Knight's Blood, means that the original idea of theirs shit the bed. Hard. And maybe it did. But then another, bigger and grander, truly unique, and maybe even more important idea took root and flourished. This place is no longer about royal blood in the sense that its students are the heirs of kings and queens or children of dukes and barons. Now it's a place that the offspring of shall we say, a new sort of monarchy came to grow, learn, and play. Diego's family, for example, is Barcelona Mafia. Ivan's uncle is a top autorité for the Kalishnik Bratva. Mobsters, mafiosos, Bratva, cartel. No matter where they're based, if they're part of the criminal underworld and they have college-aged kids, those kids are here, at Night's Blood. I might prowl this place like a demon stalking the halls of hell itself. I might look on the surface like a monster pacing the bars of its cage, aching to break free. But the truth is, I fucking love it here. I mean, I'd love anywhere that isn't New York, because fuck that place. And I know when I leave here, there's a whole other, wider world that I'll need to conquer in my own way. But for now, in this little mini-universe, this microcosm of the larger underworld outside these walls, I've risen to become king. As have others, I suppose. But I established a place in my kingdom as head of the Reckless when I was just a sophomore. That's a first, by the way. Historically, the presidents of the four main student groups have always been seniors, but apparently with a reputation, bloodline, and social nonconformity like mine, well, you tend to scare people. And if their fear scares them into giving you the seat of power, well, who am I to be so ungracious as to refuse? Technically speaking, there's not supposed to be any fighting or hostility on campus. Yes, some of the students here, even if they are friends while attending, will go on to become mortal enemies outside these walls. But while we're here, there's not supposed to be any violence. But then again, I'm pretty sure there's not supposed to be any illegal narcotics either. And yet Diego turns a tidy profit each year, bringing in as much cocaine as this place can snort, ensuring that every student who wants to be is thoroughly yacked up to the gills, should they be so inclined. Other students bring in liquor, or porn, or any other contraband you could think of. Allegedly, there was even a guy a few years ago who was managing to bring in working girls, and boys, because equal opportunity, for anyone who might need a bit more comfort while studying for midterms. Personally, my line is somewhere north of literal prostitution, but I'm not going to judge. Plus, should I need comfort, there's usually a lengthy list of members of the female student body quite ready and willing to drop to their knees and open wide. Or they think they're ready. But they're not. Not for me. Not for my demons. Not for my tastes. I frown at Diego, pulling my gaze away from where I've been staring through a concealed gap in the hedge. Patience is, in fact, a virtue, Diego. My VP of the Reckless grins at me around his cigarillo. Right, because I'm known for being so virtuous and pious. Well, some of us couldn't sleep at the mansion last night, Ivan mutters, glaring at our Spanish friend. Due to the two young ladies in your room screaming, "Oh God!" about 1,000,000 fucking times, Your Holiness. Diego crosses himself, the wrong way and with the wrong hand, before touching Ivan's forehead. Confess your sins, my son. Ivan wrinkles his nose and brushes Diego's hand away. You literally still smell like pussy. Touch me with those grubby fucking hands again, and I'll have a sin to confess real quick. Nah, Diego chuckles, sniffing his own finger. That's merely holy water. That's hoe water. Take a shower, you fucking degenerate, Ivan mutters. Are you suggesting that women who enjoy themselves sexually are hoes, Ivan? Diego shakes his head dramatically. That's not very progressive of you. I'm suggesting that the Venn diagram of female Knight's Blood students I see leaving your room in the morning and female Knight's Blood students who are infamous for being batshit nuts and fucking anything that smiles at them is a perfect circle. Will both of you please shut the fuck up so I can actually look for these shitbags? I hiss, glaring at them. Please and thank you. They shut the fuck up. I turned back to the hole in the hedge, my eyes scanning the green littered with various groups of students between classes. For the most part, the rivalries between the school clubs, notably the one between us, the Reckless, and the pompous, cleft-chinned fuckboys in Parabellum, are confined to mostly harmless pranking. They leave a bag of burning shit on our front door. We set off the sprinkler system during one of their parties. They let rats loose in our basement. I find and kill those rats, let them marinate in a plastic bag for a week, then cut that bag open and leave it hidden in their mansion's air vents. You get the idea. Except this past year, since that smarmy fuckhead Chase Cavendish became president of Parabellum, things have started escalating. And they keep escalating. Now the pranks are becoming less jokes and more, how much physical harm can we inflict before the school becomes involved? And the three of us are testing the limit in about 10 minutes. We're hiding next to the path that Chase and two of his buddies and top Parabellum leaders, Brad Hathaway and Spencer Campbell, frequently take from the cafeteria to their afternoon classes. Where the path enters the rows of hedges, it makes a circle around a little pleasant pool with a fountain and dotted with lily pads. Hidden beneath the idyllic little pool, fountain, and hedges, though, is one of the water mains to the cafeteria kitchens. It runs right up through the base of this very fountain, and it contains water flowing at a fairly dangerous 300 psi, which is basically the force with which water comes out of a fire hose. There are currently 2 charges wrapped discreetly around this high-pressure piping. One that would burst it in the direction of one path, and the other aimed to burst it in a slightly different direction at another path, since Chase and his pals take either at random. I know. I've checked. Is purposefully bursting via the remote detonators in my pocket, dangerously high-pressured water directly into the faces of 3 unprotected humans less than 10 feet away, slightly more than a prank? Most certainly. In fact, there's a decent chance one or more of them will lose a fucking eye in the execution of this prank. Between us, I'm halfway hoping for that. This is the exact sort of escalation I was talking about. But they moved it up a notch first. We're merely retaliating. At the last fight night, which a few of us hold in a clearing in the woods behind the stables, Parabellum put up one of their own, Ian Winstead, against one of our guys, Vincent Marcady. As bloody as it can get, fight night means a fair fight. Or it's supposed to. Except last time, Ian, on the direction of Chase Cavendish and his little fucking friends, stuffed his hand wrappings with metal. Vincent is now nursing a broken jaw, arm, 3 cracked ribs, and a half-shattered hand. So fuck Parabellum. They're about to reap what they fucking sowed. I glare through the hedge, watching for them, waiting to see which path the fuckers take so that I can detonate the right charge, and with luck, blind the lot of them. But suddenly, without any warning, something catches and utterly arrests my attention. It's her. The new girl. Dahlia Roy. I can feel my jaw tighten. Shit. This has happened before, though never with a girl. I call it my fixation mode. It's when I latch on to something and become utterly obsessed with following it through to its end, come what may. It's how I was with the gardener who was without a doubt stealing from my grandmother. With the boy Callie went to middle school with who was trying to take pictures up her skirt. With Quentin Harpsworth, a senior who crossed me my freshman year at Knightsblood, and in so doing landed fully on my radar. Quentin was a car nut, and obsessed with a rare Corvette that was up for auction. So I started a shell company to drive his bid higher and higher, past any rational price for the car, before finally letting him win. When it was safely in his possession, and lovingly tucked away in its forever home in the garage on his father's Hamptons estate. I lit the whole garage on fire and let his shiny new toy burn to ash. It was never about the car itself. It was about seeing things through. It was about my fixation. And now I fear, for her sake, that Dahlia might be the next fixation. This isn't the first time I've noticed her. In fact, the number of times I've noticed her has become so plentiful that I've long since lost track of the actual count. What I haven't lost track of, though, is the number of times those sightings, or me noticing her, isn't simply running across her or happening to see her by chance like now. It's times I've actively sought her out, actively stalked her, actively hunted her. For all of the chaos that flows in my veins, nothing I do is random. I don't do spur of the moment, or off the cuff. And she's no exception. Even if I'd love to be able to tell myself it's random, just something that keeps happening. But as I've mentioned, I'm not capable of lying to myself. I know her background. Of course I do. Everyone on this campus knows about her unfortunate parentage, and her connection to both Adrian Cross through her mom, and Andre LeBlanc by way of her stepfather, Gerard Dumouchel. But it's not her background or considerable baggage that I see when I lay eyes on her. It's her. The tanned skin and jet black hair. The dark brows that seem to be perpetually arched in a way that give her a slightly mischievous, mysterious look. Big green eyes. Full, pouty lips that I have on far too many occasions, imagined wrapped around my cock, while she gags and drools all over it. Regal, aristocratic bone structure. A petite frame with just enough curves in all the right places to make my blood flow directly to my dick, no matter where I am or what I'm doing when I spot her. Not a week ago I found her in the woods. It was almost dark, and she was alone. And she looked at me with this mix of fear and excitement, as if she knew damn well what finding herself alone in the woods with the likes of me could mean. And not only was she not afraid of it, she was eager for it. I don't even remember what the fuck I said to her. Something stupid like, "You don't belong here." Because she doesn't. Clearly. I mean, Christ, just watching her now, it's painfully apparent that here at Night's Blood, she is very much out of her element. And the students here are going to fucking devour her over the next 4 years, if she even makes it to Christmas break. Maybe it's my own arrogance and ego. Not going to lie, it frequently is. But when I look at Dahlia, I see with crystal clarity that I, and I alone in this place, actually understand her. She's not like the rest of them. And neither am I. Well, where the fuck are they? Shit. I rip my gaze away from where Dahlia is sitting alone on a bench. My eyes quickly scan the green, trying to spot Chase and his 2 walking cum stains before they enter the fountain area, so that I can blind them properly. But I don't see them. You 3 losers jerking each other off or something? Son of a bitch. Chase's voice comes from behind us. When I turn and see him, my jaw grinds. Fuck. They're already well inside the fountain area of hedges, past either point that the 2 detonators are aimed at. Fury swells inside of me. I was distracted. By her. Again. Well, those of us in the Reckless sometimes need 1 or 2 extra hands besides our own. Ivan shrugs. You know, for sheer coverage of all that square footage down there. I'm assuming you don't have that little problem in Parabellum. Chase rolls his eyes. That was fucking stupid even for you, Antonov. Diego, fiercely loyal to his friends to a fault, angrily flicks his cigarillo at the three douchebags, hitting Brad in the face as he advances. Say it again to my face, hijo de puta. Brad bristles and takes a step back, along with Spencer. Chase just folds his arms over his beefy quarterback chest, smirking at us. Better get your dogs on tighter leashes, Dracos. I'm sure your mother has all sorts of choking devices. I'll ask her next time I'm over fucking her ass while your father jerks off in the corner. Chase bristles. That was a low blow, I'll admit, which is precisely why I said it. A few months back, someone hacked Chase's father's company. Most of their financials and mob shit was secure enough that it didn't make it to the news. But other, private, sensitive information did. Like the fact that his parents are practicing swingers. His mom, for example, likes to get fucked by other men, while insulting her husband as he films it. I guess Chase is still a little sore about that getting out. I'll ask again. Chase mutters. What the fuck are the three of you doing back here? Shit. Is this not where we're all meeting for the gangbang with your mom? Ivan frowns. Fuck, I really don't want to miss that. Chase twists his mouth into a smile, the muscles in his neck straining as a vein pops on his forehead. But he doesn't explode. I'll admit, I'm mildly impressed at his ability to cage his baser emotions at times. He glances past us, moving closer and ignoring the way Diego spits at his shoe. He looks through the hole in the hedge, smirks, and then pulls back, turning to level his eyes on me. Ah, I see. Shit. He grins a little wider. Were you just staring at who I think you were staring at? I say nothing. Chase sighs, shoving his fingers through his blonde hair. Dahlia Roy. Interesting. He glances back at his buddies. Should we expand the pool, gentlemen? Brad smirks. Spencer tips his head to the side slightly. I guess we could. My jaw clenches. What pool? Why, the betting pool, my friend. Chase grins widely. You're aware of the time-honored freshman tradition at Knight's Blood of prima nox, aren't you? I most certainly am. I hate it. It's not just that it's a stupid, archaic, fratty tradition. It's that I abhor activities or intended activities that verge on rape or anything even close to it. And that's almost exactly what prima nox is. Ivan frowns. What the fuck is prima nox? It's for losers like these so they can continue pretending they're not George Michael singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow at an Elton John concert gay for each other. Diego mutters. Chase ignores Diego and just smiles at Ivan. It's the king's right. It literally translates as the first night. At the beginning of the year, an assessment is made of incoming female freshmen. Those who are confirmed to be or thought most likely to be virgins are put on a list. If you fuck one of them, you move up in rank. If you fuck one that is higher rated, your score goes up even more. He swivels his toxic little face toward me. Are you aware who the crown jewel of the pool is this year? I swear to God I'm going to hurt him. Badly. The one and only Miss Dahlia Roy. It takes more effort than I'd ever expect to stop the roaring in my head. To stop the violent urges that explode through my veins and almost cause me to make a rare, unplanned move. But I bite it all back. For now. What do you say, Dracos? Chase's lips curl wickedly. I've laid the groundwork, and I'm already well on my way to claiming the top prize. But if you'd like to make things a little more interesting for me, I'm sure I could make things exciting for everyone involved. My teeth grind. The current pot for fucking the crown jewel, that would be dear little Dahlia, is $100,000. He grins at me. If you manage to pop her cherry before I do, I'll triple that. His hand stabs out, his eyes lancing into mine. So, do we have a deal? Over the last 2 minutes, I've been slowly edging to the side, which has kept Chase and his dipshit friends moving over as well. Because people are mostly sheep, and they can easily be herded if you do it subtly enough. I've been herding Chase, Brad, and Spencer to the left, until they're standing with their backs just 10 feet from 300 pounds per square inch of water pressure. Well? Hey, Chase. He frowns. What? Bend over. His brow furrows deeper. 4? Your enema. I hit the button in my pocket, setting off the charge and sending gallons of water blasting at their backs. Sadly, it's not at the proper height to sodomize the 3 of them, but it's definitely enough to send them shrieking away and satiate the bloodlust inside of me. Unfortunately, it's also enough to send half the students out on the green running for cover, as if someone's just set off a pipe bomb. Dahlia included. Present. I don't fucking like this at all. I pull my eyes from the work stuff on my phone to look at Hades sitting next to me. We're back in the gardens outside Yaya's house. But today isn't another birthday. It's Callie's wedding. What don't you like, Hades? I mutter in a bored tone, glancing back at my phone. I can feel him glaring at me. Jesus. Do I really need to make a full list? Just the highlights will do. He grunts. How about the fact that our baby sister is marrying that smug, blonde Captain America motherfucker who's 12 years older than her? I mean, I'm not pleased with the idea either, but I understand completely why it's happening, and it's 100% the best, in fact, arguably the only, way to sever Callie from our father's contract with the Carvellis. Also, I know it's making Callie absurdly happy. What with her enormous crush on Castle and all. I need to carve out some time to explore his feelings a bit more, because I'm not sure if those feelings are reciprocated or not. If they are, well, maybe we're past the point of me throwing him off a roof. But at minimum, we'll be having a strongly worded conversation. And if that fails, there's always Plan B, aka off the roof. Hades, relax. He's the head of the Kildare Empire. A former Army Ranger with 5 years of combat experience. He spent 10 years being bodyguard to Nev and Eilish. He saved the lives of... I frown as I start to tick them off on my fingers, trying to remember. I mean, basically everyone at this fucking wedding at least once, including said baby sister. I arch a brow at him and shrug. I'm really failing to see the problem here. Hades scowls, jabbing a finger to where Castle is waiting at the small altar with the Greek Orthodox priest Yaya insisted on, even if this wedding is all for show, for the sake of the Carvellis. That little shit is going to fuck our sister. And what if our sister wants him to fuck her? Dude, gross? I roll my eyes again and go back to my phone, sighing. She's an adult, Hades. Adults tend to have sex. Okay, can we drop this? You're the one who brought it up. Well, I wish I hadn't. Believe me, on that we can agree. Elsa takes a seat next to my brother, reaching over and giving my arm a quick squeeze as she does. What are you two muttering about over here? Callie's sex life. Okay, why? Can we please drop this already? Hades groans. I already have. My fingers fly over my phone as I begin to nudge another piece of my plan into place. One trap has already been set. One brick wall to box her in has already been laid, and the mortar has dried. The rest are rapidly getting higher. Soon she'll have nowhere to run. Nowhere to hide. No way to escape me. Slowly, I allow my eyes to raise and to rake across the gardens to where Dahlia is sitting with Eilish and Gavin. Looking delicious. Fake wedding or not, everyone's dressed to the nines for the photos that Yaya insists on, and that Ares believes are crucial in selling this whole thing to the Carvellis. If my own intel on Massimo Carvelli and the LeBlanc French Mafia family is correct, and I'm almost sure it is, then selling Callie and Castle's marriage isn't anything anyone needs to worry about. But who am I to step out of my lane? Back to Dahlia. She's in this olive green wraparound gown, the tone of which goes perfectly with her skin, her dark hair, and her green eyes. It's not overtly sexy, but it's not a burlap sack either. It's fucking distracting is what it is. Very, very distracting. Soon, my darling. Soon. The thing is, wanting her isn't just about taking what I was denied before. It's punishment for the pain she knowingly caused me. She alone is the one person in the history of my life who's managed to fool me and get past my defenses, and I've spent years hunting her, looking for my way to take revenge by sabotaging her happiness, stamping out the slightest spark of a flame that dared to flicker between her and any other man. For the last year and change, I was distracted from my plan. I had the running of our operations in Europe to attend to, which, as you can imagine, is a superhuman task that requires literally all my focus. It's the only reason I somehow missed that she'd cozied up to my sister. Like a fool. The music begins to play. Deftly, I type a few more directions on my phone, and then raise my gaze to her back. She tenses up, and as the music plays, my sister begins to walk down the aisle toward Castle. Dahlia senses my eyes on her, suddenly flinches and turns. Her eyes lock with mine immediately, then go wide as her face turns white. I just smile as my thumb taps the final button on my phone, before I slide it into my pocket, sealing her fate. The last wall of her prison just slid into place around Dahlia Roy. And she has no fucking idea.
Chapter 7. Dahlia. I just can't believe you're not freaking out right now. Sprawled at her end of the big couch, Callie shrugs dismissively. I mean, I'm not freaked out, and I was way worse before, but... She lifts her shoulders again and sighs. I don't know. I guess maybe because I grew up so firmly in this world, it's not that insane to me. Her brow furrows. I should probably talk to someone about that, shouldn't I? I smile as I reach over and squeeze her hand. You're talking to me about it right now. Some people just can't catch a break. First, Callie gets betrothed to a pig of a Mafia don who's like 3 times her age, as part of an agreement her dead father hammered out with him. Then, when said don dies, his asshole son drops in on Callie's birthday party to claim she's magically his now. Which is why she had to marry Castle. And I mean, Castle is outrageously hot, don't get me wrong. And he's a nice, decent man. It's also pretty clear to me by now that Callie's been harboring a massive crush on him. But still, crushes are one thing. Being forced to marry someone with just 2 days' notice in order to break a Mafia blood marker is insane. And as if that wasn't enough, 2 weeks ago, barely after their wedding, someone opened fire on the Kildare family brownstone, almost killing them both before Castle started shooting back and scared the gunman off. Long story short, Callie and Castle are holed up together in Konstantin Reznikov's penthouse apartment for now. Konstantin, Gavin's half-brother and co-head of the Reznikov Bratva, is currently in London with his very pregnant wife Mara, who's about to give birth to twins. Their pied-à-terre here in New York is a freaking fortress, and it's guarded like Fort Knox. Even I had to be put on an OK list just to get through the front door downstairs without getting shot. And that's by Kildare guards who know me. Well, if you ever do want to freak out, you know you can call me. She grins. Thanks. I'm okay, I guess. Just bored and kinda over being stuck in this place. That's another part of the deal. While they're staying here, and while everyone's out there tracking down whoever the fuck might have taken a shot at her and Castle, Callie can't leave. As in literally, cannot leave this one-bedroom, one-bathroom, normally occupied by a married couple apartment, under strict orders from Castle, not to mention all her brothers. I mean, I figure if you wouldn't freak out, I'm going to be just fine. She winks at me. Callie knows a lot of my backstory. Not all of it, but she knows the part about my mother and Nasser El-Sayed. She knows how when I was a baby, my Aunt Celeste, who was at the time fake married to Nasser's son, Amir, was forced to trot me out as their daughter for photo ops, with my mother playing the part of nanny. Until Uncle Adrian helped Celeste break free of all of that and saved my mother and me. I snort. You seriously think I wouldn't be freaking the hell out right now if I was in your position? No, you wouldn't be. She shrugs matter-of-factly. Because you're such a total badass. I blush and grin. Well, I mean, guilty as charged. We both laugh as I let my eyes wander over the frankly stunning glass, bulletproof, of course, and steel modern apartment with views of pretty much all of Manhattan. Dude, there are seriously worse places you could be cooped up. This place is incredible. She makes a face. Yeah, it's fine, I guess.
Did you move my fucking razor again?
We both whip our heads around as Castle comes storming out of the lone bedroom in the apartment, bare-chested, with a towel wrapped around his muscled, grooved torso. He stops abruptly when he sees me.
Shit, sorry,
he grumbles.
Didn't know you were stopping by, Dahlia.
Surprise! I smile weakly. Sorry, I'm totally barging in. It's my house too, Callie says flatly to him. I'm allowed to have guests. His brows knit.
I never said you couldn't.
And I have no idea where your stupid razor is. He glares at her as her face heats.
Let's tone down the attitude in front of company, shall we?
Yes, sir, she mouths back. Castle's eyes flash. Callie's face turns beet red. A second later, Castle's whirling around and stalking back into the bedroom.
Nice to see you, Dahlia.
The door shuts firmly behind him. I turn to raise my brows at my friend. What? She mumbles. You're joking, right? I snort. Callie, that was the closest thing to a threesome I think I'll ever be a part of. She blushes deeply, rolling her eyes in a vain attempt at deflection that utterly fails. You're imagining things. I am not. Can we please change the subject? I giggle, letting her off the hook. For now. Sure. What's going on with you and my brother? I almost throw up. The question hits me so unaware, right in the gut. I blanch, my face turning white as I stare at her. What? I finally choke out. Callie frowns. Yeah, I've been meaning to ask ever since my birthday. But then, you know. She waves her arms in the air eloquently. Gestures broadly at everything. I swallow. There's nothing going on with me and Deimos. You know each other, though, right? I bite my lip, trying to figure out if it's better to lie through my teeth or just embrace enough of the truth to sweep this away. Let's go with option 2. It has a better chance of not blowing up in my face. We went to school together. That's it. Her brows fly up to the ceiling. Hold up! How have we seriously been friends this long, and I am just now learning that you went to fucking Niceblood? I deflect with a wave of my hand. Because I only went for 1 semester. Half a semester, even. It really wasn't for me. There's zero lie there. Deimos and I weren't friends or anything. I think he was a senior and I was a freshman. Callie's brow furrows. Whoa, wait. Were you there when there was that big fire that killed those 2 guys? I can still feel the heat. Smell the smoke. Taste the blood in the air. It wasn't fire that killed them. Yeah, I mumble quietly. Yeah, that was insane. She exhales. It's just crazy. Deimos never once mentioned you guys knew each other, and neither did you. I brush it off with a laugh. Honestly, I never realized I hadn't mentioned it, but it wasn't like we were friends or anything. She nods, satisfied, and then glances at the clock. Do you want to order in some food? I make a face. Can't. I gotta head to an advisor meeting on campus real quick, and then I'm off to my orientation for my internship. Ooh. Callie waggles her brows as I stand and grab my bag. How exciting. The door to the bedroom opens, and Castle, now dressed in charcoal grey slacks, a matching vest, and a crisp white dress shirt, no tie, with the sleeves rolled up, walks out. It is not in any way, shape, or form lost on me how greedily Callie's eyes sweep over him. Castle makes a huge point of not looking back at her, turning his gaze to me instead.
Are you headed out, Dahlia?
Yeah, class stuff.
He shrugs. Well, if you're going uptown toward Columbia, I can give you a lift. I'm headed into Harlem myself.
Yeah? That'd be awesome, actually. Thanks. Not having to pay for a cab right now, given the unsure future of my finances? Yes, please. My mom's been putting up a brave front, but the silent war with Gerard continues. And now that Mom's financial advisors have gotten a chance to really dig into things and see what's happening, we've got a much better idea of just how bad the damage could be. Spoiler alert, real bad. Gerard, the asshole, is coming after everything. The one saving grace is that the holding company that controls my mom's foundation, that helps women escape abusive situations, is technically in my name, not hers. So Gerard can't touch that. It's not like it makes any money, but what it does for those women means more to my mother than any cash. Callie sighs loudly and dramatically. Yes! He gets to leave the house. He gets to go places. Castle rolls his eyes, looking at her like she's a brat that won't stop pushing his buttons. I get the impression that's kinda her exact game plan.
Roll with the Irish Mafia for your whole youth, go to basic training, and then spend 5 years in active combat zones with the Army Rangers. He tosses back at her. Then yeah, by all means, you can leave the house. Callie flips him off. Castle sighs and flashes me an exasperated, help me, look. Come on, Dahlia. I'll drive you to campus. I glance back at my friend. Call me any time. Yeah, you can tell me how a fresh breeze and unfiltered sunlight feel on your skin. I've forgotten, she mutters, glaring darkly at Castle. After a quick check-in with my academic advisor, I decide to take the subway to the address I just got for my internship with Laconia Logistics. There's literally nothing about them online, which is beyond weird.
My advisor mentioned they were a last-minute addition to the pool for internship placements. She also mentioned that they waived the need for a mission statement, which is how I landed it without finishing that part. Taken together, it doesn't exactly paint a very professional picture of them to me. But hey, I'll find out soon enough. I'm charging around the corner of the academic building when I slam right into someone. The girl gasps at the same time as I do, both of us tumbling backward as papers and books go flying everywhere. "Oh my God!" she chokes, looking mortified as she struggles to her feet. "Fuck! I'm so sorry. I was looking at my phone like a complete asshole." No. I wince as I get off the ground and to my feet. "No, it was totally my fault. I wasn't looking where I was going and running way too fast." "Oh, please, no, this is all on me," the girl gushes, looking super apologetic as she stoops to start grabbing up her papers. I kneel down to help, and she continues to stammer, "No, seriously, I can—" "Hey, it's cool." I smile at her as I hand over a stack of her papers. "I'm Dahlia, by the way." The girl pushes her dirty blonde hair out of her face, revealing big, bright blue eyes. "Victoria, hi. Do you go to school here too?" I ask, my gaze dropping to the Columbia University tote bag over her shoulder. "Yeah, undergrad. Senior poli-sci major." I grin widely. "No way! I'm in the business grad program now, but I was a poli-sci major in undergrad here too." She beams. "That's crazy!" We both stand, dusting off our clothes. I'm relieved to see my skirt suit still looks okay. I clear my throat. Look, this is maybe super weird, but I still have basically all of my notes from my senior year. If you ever want to look at them... Her eyes light up. "Are you serious?" I laugh. "Please, it's the least I can do for body slamming you." She blushes fiercely. "Oh my God, you're an angel. I missed a bunch of classes at the beginning of the year for some family stuff, and I'm still playing catch-up. It's honestly my pleasure." We swap numbers and then laugh again. "I have to run to this internship thing, but seriously, call me anytime about the notes." "I will, and thanks so much," Victoria gushes. "Good luck with the internship." 20 minutes underground later, I'm in Midtown, hustling down the sidewalk toward the offices of Laconia Logistics when my phone rings. It's Bethany, the CEO of my mom's foundation and the holding company that operates it. "Dahlia, hi," she chirps in her signature clipped tone. "Hey, Bethany, I'm just about to jump into—" "Do you have just 1 minute? This is important, and I felt that it was appropriate for you to hear it from me." I stop right outside the building I'm about to walk into, my heart pounding. Okay, what's up? Mom was just telling me last night that Gerhard can't... We've just sold Roy Holdings Limited." It feels like the sidewalk is about to crack open and swallow me up. A ringing sound fills my ears as I go numb. Roy Holdings Limited is the holding company that controls my mom's foundation. The only thing that Gerhard wasn't going to be able to get his hands on. And now it's gone. "What?" I scream into the phone. "Beth, you can't." "I can, actually." She exhales heavily. "Look, Dahlia, I'm so sorry to be the one telling you this. And I'm truly sorry it played out this way." "You can't!" I scream again, startling passing pedestrians. "Dahlia, hun, listen to me. I can. I'm the CEO, or at least I was the CEO, and with everything going on with your stepfather, I'm afraid I have to think long-term strategy. Not to mention what's best for everyone involved with the company. I know how much the foundation means to you and your mother. Believe me, I know. It's why I took this job, because I believe in the mission. But this isn't a foundation that pays for its own operations, Dahlia. It relies 100% on revenue from your mother's other assets, investments, and holding companies. Without that, you'd lose the foundation anyway. And soon. I squeeze my eyes shut as I lean against the building behind me. Fuck. The offer came through a few weeks ago. I ignored it, because that wasn't an option for us at the time. But then things progressed with Gerard's legal motions, and it became clear exactly how quick the foundation would run out of cash. Then that same party upped their buyout offer, and I've accepted. Beth! It was a huge offer, Dahlia. $30 million. My eyes start from my head. What? After the shareholders get their cut, and after the employee severance packages, I wince. The foundation employs over 50 people. 50 people who are now out of work. And the C-level exits? I bark a laugh. C-level exits, as in a nice way of saying massive payouts for the company executive team. So, you've sewn yourself a nice little golden fucking parachute, I assume, I snap. She sighs heavily. After all of that, there's still $12 million left over for you and your mom. Look, I understand it's not enough to give you the same lifestyle you enjoyed after your mother received Nasser El Sayed's fortune. Don't you dare utter that prick's name! She takes a beat. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Look, Dahlia, it's still $12 million. That's a very, very good life. And how big a check did you cut yourself, Beth? I snap, shaking with anger. Enough for another beach house in... The terms of my exit package are actually legally defined, Dahlia, and beyond my control. But even so, I redistributed my payout to the other exiting employees. Oh. Now I feel like a little shit. I bite my lip. I'm not the enemy here, Dahlia. Bethany exhales, her voice strained and weary. Well, who is then? I mutter. Who the fuck would pay $30 million for a foundation that doesn't even make enough to support itself? I've never heard of them, but they're a Canadian company with a new office in New York. Who? Called Laconia Logistics. Everything goes still. My pulse throbs in my temples as I slowly turn my head, swiveling my gaze to the discreet brass plate at the entryway to the very building I'm leaning against. The one listing all the current business tenants. An accounting firm. An allergist's office. A graphic design company. A political strategy consultant. An advertising agency. And Laconia fucking Logistics. I don't believe in coincidence. Not at this level, at least. Someone's fucking with me. And I'm about to find out who. Beth, I have to call you back. I hang up and storm inside with all the wrathful force of a hurricane. I blurt who I am to a terrified front desk clerk, who waves me through security to the elevators. My thumb jams against the button for their floor. I crack my knuckles and try to calm my breathing as the elevator rises to the 20th floor, where Laconia Logistics from fuck knows where, Canada, has their fancy new big city offices. When the doors open, I explode out, ready to rain down fire and fucking brimstone with the fury of a vengeful goddess. Until I step off the elevators into nothing. No fancy big city offices. No offices at all, even. No cubicles. No perky receptionist. No ubiquitous ferny plants or bland, inoffensive corporate wall art. Nothing. Just a single chair, sitting all by itself, way across the open space near the wall of windows overlooking the city, next to the single landline phone sitting sadly on the floor. It's utterly silent. What the fuck is...
I hope you found the place without problem.
I scream, jumping almost out of my skin as I whirl at the sound of his voice. Deimos slips away from the wall beside the elevator doors he's been leaning against, lurking in the shadows. Like he always is. He doesn't step so much as ooze from the dark into the light, his eyes glinting malevolently as they latch onto me. Honestly, I've been waiting for this to happen ever since I heard he was staying in New York. And I kept telling myself that he was staying, despite his hatred for the city, because of everything that's going on with Callie. But deep down, I knew that it was more than that. And so I've been waiting for the other shoe to drop, waiting for him to lunge out from behind every tree or out of every alleyway I pass, waiting for every shadow in my peripheral vision to be him, coming for me. The truly fucked up part is, I've been hoping he would. And that right there is the single most twisted part of my horrible, shattered, smoke-filled, charred and blood-soaked background with Deimos Drakos. That as much as I hate him, and as terrified of him as I am, I also can't ever truly cut myself free of him. I can't ever lop off that cancerous part buried inside of me that refuses to stop thinking about him, dreaming about him, fantasizing about him, for God's sake. Whether that's because he evokes this fear and excitement in me, or in spite of it, is a conversation I've never really been prepared to have with myself. But now, here we are, and those very daydreams, or nightmares, of shadows that materialize into Deimos are playing out in real life, right in front of me.
Hello, darling.
Chapter 8. Dahlia. Time freezes. The world grinds to a stuttering halt around us as Deimos stops barely 2 feet in front of me. Once again, I'm struck by the sheer power that swirls around this man like a dark, ominous cloud. A plague. If this were a movie, there'd be lightning crackling around him and thunder booming with his every step. Movie or not, actually. I'm almost surprised Deimos hasn't subverted every single law of physics and chemistry in order to make that happen anyway. His dark eyes spark with viciousness. But it's the glee mixed in with it that truly sets my nerves jangling. I shrink under his gaze. And yet, at the same time, God help me, I'm sizzling under it too. Some things never change. What is this? I manage to croak, after what feels like an eternity of silence. The corners of his perfect, devilish lips curl cruelly.
This is you getting in on the ground floor of a fantastic new business opportunity, Dahlia.
My throat bobs up and down as I try to swallow the thick lump caught in it. My tongue drags across the back of my teeth as my brain tries to form words, even as I'm weighing if it's even wise to speak.
Do you like our offices? He murmurs, with all the sincerity of a punchline. I thought Midtown might be a bit overdone, but well, appearances are everything in this world, aren't they?
What is this? I mutter again. A prank? A sick joke? Fucking with me for the sake of fucking with me? Or something much worse? Maybe it's part of something much crueler this psychotic monster has in store for me. Because he is psychotic. I know that now. Before, when we were at Night's Blood, I, and I assume everyone else, chalked Deimos's unnerving, scary, and at times downright cruel disposition up to him being a narcissistic mafia prince with anger issues. Like, well, most rich and powerful mafia princes, which is to say most of the student body at Night's Blood. But over the years, as I've thought about it, so much more than I ever should have, and rehashed those encounters and considered his mannerisms over and over, I realized there was much more to it than just a rich kid with a chip on his shoulder and a penchant for deviousness. Deimos isn't just twisted. He's unhinged. He always came off as smart. But then there'd be these little glimpses that you got, where you realized he wasn't just smart. He was really, really fucking smart. And even smarter, knowing to hide it a little. Calculating like a machine, and ruthless to a fault. Vengeful, too. It was only years after I'd left Night's Blood that I realized Deimos's penchant for, if not obsession with, revenge wasn't just a Mafia tough guy act. It was a compulsion. A hunger he needed to feed. Ordinary bullies and tyrants use brute force and cruelty as a shield to hide their insecurities and fears. Deimos? He has no insecurities. There's no fear inside of him. He behaved the way he did because he enjoyed it. And apparently, he still does. Deimos.
Judging from your dramatic entrance, I assume you've spoken to Bethany Pietro by now?
I can't even speak. I can only glare at him and hope that my gaze will ignite him into a column of fire.
Dahlia, we've established already that you're not, in fact, a mute. Is it more head trauma?
You bastard!
I prefer the term boss.
I swallow, flinching as the word rasps from his lips.
As Bethany, I'm sure, explained, I now own Roy Holdings Limited in its entirety.
He winks at me.
But don't change that channel, viewers. It gets better.
My veins turn to ice. What have you done? His mouth curls into a shark-like smile.
In about, the next hour or so, I imagine you'll start getting phone calls from, well, quite a number of people, really. I'm going to spoil the surprise just a little for you, and let you know that all of these people have one thing in common.
I shiver as he effortlessly moves closer to me, sending a rippling of something foreboding teasing up my spine.
They all run various companies, funds, and investment portfolios, belonging to one Adele Roy.
My mother. He smiles.
Would you like to know why they'll be calling?
I nod, my motion slow, as if I'm drowning in tar.
I've been shopping, Dahlia. You know how it is. Allowance money burning a hole in your pocket.
He shakes his head ruefully. Oh, God.
Now, the good news is, because your mother and her accountants were savvy enough to split her wealth across a diverse portfolio, it's not all in one place for greedy little Gerard to plunder. In further good news, out of the 14 companies and funds that it's spread across, I've now taken 6 of them out of this chess game with your stepfather, which, incidentally, are collectively worth about $300 million.
I stare at him, my mouth falling open. Deimos smiles that shock smile again.
Please, ask.
How
did I manage to buy $300 million worth of your mother's assets for, well, substantially less than $300 million?
I nod silently, my eyes wide and my heart thudding in my chest. Deimos looks around the room nonchalantly, seemingly not caring that my world is crumbling around me. Because if it wasn't bad enough that my mom and I are losing everything to a man we allowed ourselves to trust, now another devil has joined in the plunder. And while Gerard is probably doing this purely for the money, I have a horrible, sick feeling that Deimos is doing it for no other reason than he can. Because he finds it amusing to torment me for some fucked up reason.
Trickery, bullshit, lies, bullying, and blackmail. In any case, you're welcome.
I blink, staring at him. Excuse me? His eyes drag over me.
I said, You're welcome.
For
stopping Stepdaddy Dearest in his tracks before he can take everything.
Sure, by scooping it up for yourself, I snap coldly.
I prefer to call it rescuing assets.
Them being stolen by you instead of him doesn't make them any less stolen.
You'll get them back.
I tense. My heart skips as my pulse thuds in my ears as his very presence sucks the oxygen from my lungs. What?
I said, you'll get them back.
How much? I grit through clenched teeth. Deimos's lips curl at the corners as he shakes his head.
I think we're getting a teensy bit ahead of ourselves, don't you?
And I think you invented a fake company just to screw with me. He chuckles quietly, and I shiver as he steps even closer to me. His hand comes up, and I bite back a gasp when two of his fingers brush the underside of my chin, making me raise my eyes to his.
Well, well, well,
he growls.
Look who grew a spine in the last 6 years.
Fuck you! I jolt, adrenaline exploding through my body as Deimos's powerful tattooed hand grips my jaw tightly. His scarred hand. The hand I saw him cradle protectively as it dripped blood on the night of the fire. The night he destroyed it all.
For a girl who's a business student at the graduate level, he rasps, you're being shockingly cavalier and unprofessional with someone who is now your boss.
I shudder and then bark out a cold laugh. You're not my boss.
On the contrary, I have your internship acceptance contract sitting in my email, signed by your academic advisor, that says I most certainly am.
My eyes lance into his. It's an unpaid internship, and I'm completely free to quit any time I...
Actually, this internship does pay.
My body shivers as his hand grips my jaw a little tighter as he leers down into my face.
It pays $300 million, to be exact. Isn't that astonishing?
I stare at him. You son of a bitch. You're joking. He says nothing, but his hand releases my jaw. A cold sensation ripples up my spine, my skin turning to goose flesh, as Deimos slowly begins to walk around me. Part of me wants to turn my body to follow his steps, as if he's a wild animal who will pounce the moment I take my eyes off him. But another part of me refuses to let him pull my strings, because I know he does this. I've watched him do it before, herding people, getting them to play directly into his hand in subtle, conniving ways. So instead, I stay right where I am, facing forward, my chin held high.
I'll be giving the companies I snatched out from under Gerard's nose back to you and your mother.
How very charitable of you, I sneer. He steps back into my line of sight, a cold, unnerving smile on his lethally gorgeous face.
I am many things, Dahlia, he growls quietly. But I can assure you, charitable isn't one of them. As I was saying, I'll be giving the companies and assets back to you both for a price.
That shivering sensation walks its way up my spine again as he continues to circle me, a lion closing in for the kill. And again, I say icily, how much?
You're going to be mine.
My pulse skips as something twisted lurches awake in my core, deep in that dark, dangerous place I work so hard to keep locked down tight. Excuse me? I flinch as his slow, methodical walk brings him to a stop directly in front of me. What the hell does that mean? I breathe.
It means whatever I want it to mean. You'll do everything I ask. Answer my phones. File my paperwork. Clean, cook, do my fucking taxes if I ask you to. I'll own you. Completely.
I bristle, my teeth flashing as he slowly moves around until he's behind me. I'm not...
You'll even be my whore if I ask.
My breath catches with a sharp inhale as the words rasp directly into my ear. The heat of his body and the bergamot, spice, and leather scent of him drowns me in his proximity as the empty office goes silent. Sweet fucking God, he really did just say that. You'll even be my whore if I ask. I want to say it's rage and indignation surging inside me, and maybe part of it is. But that's not the only cause of the sudden explosion through my core. You...
Can't? Oh, but I can.
He comes back in front of me and stops again, looming over me with his black eyes stabbing into mine.
Yes, Dahlia, I fucking can. The choice is yours.
He hands me a plain, matte black business card with nothing but his name and an address printed on it in gold leaf.
Be at my place at 8 tomorrow night, or there is no deal.
I'm speechless, my pulse thrumming in my ears as Deimos turns and casually begins to head over to the elevator.
I've got some business to attend to.
He turns to smile coolly at me.
You see, I have 6 brand new companies to familiarize myself with, after all.
It's an effort not to scream.
Why don't you stay here, though?
He frowns, gesturing broadly past me at the completely empty office with his hand.
If you could get everyone settled, maybe get IT in here to get the email system up and running. Oh, and if you could color code my schedule for the next week, and maybe get a general org chart going, that'd be great. Thanks a bunch.
He's crazy. Not just an asshole and a narcissistic egomaniac with a god complex. He's legitimately fucking nuts.
Any questions?
I slowly shake my head, staring at him in disbelief.
Is that a no?
What the fuck is wrong with you? I breathe. His cold, malevolent smile drops in a flash. I shiver as that cruel, shark-like gleam flickers in his eyes like black mercury. His jaw tenses up, and I jolt as he suddenly surges right into me. His big, strong hands grip my face tightly at the jawline, making my eyes bug out as his power envelops me in its black cloud of poison.
I told you what would happen if we ever crossed paths again,
he snarls viciously.
I fucking told you.
I lived here first.
And now I do too.
That's not my problem, I spit back. His lip lifts in a slight snarl.
Oh, yes, it is.
He murmurs dangerously.
Yes, it is very much your problem. Now again, what did I say?
I swallow thickly, feeling my legs shake and my skin throb where he's touching my face, consumed by an illicit heat and naked fear.
What did I say, Dahlia?
That you take everything, I whisper, shuddering, my breath catching in my throat.
If I ever see you again, I'll take it all. I'll take whatever you love and hold dear. I'll take everything, darling.
He nods slowly.
Well remembered. That I did. But I'm feeling generous.
His lips curve up just a hint. My breath turns choppy as he grips my jaw tighter and suddenly dips his mouth right into the crook of my neck. His lips and his stubble brush across my cheek, and the planet wobbles on its axis as he whispers low in my ear.
It won't actually be everything. Just you.
Chapter 9. Dahlia. 6 years ago. I read it too fast. The day I discovered that diary, I devoured at least a third of it before the sun began to set. A few days later, when I went back to read some more of what might become my favorite book of all time, I realized I had to slow down. It's like being served the most delicious slice of cake in the world. You could stuff it in your face all at once and immerse yourself in the full effect of its taste for a moment. Or you could savor it slowly. You could take your time and enjoy each and every bite, stretching each moment out as long as you can. That's my new approach to the diary, and to the mysterious and emotionally complex person who wrote it. And so, for the last few weeks, in between classwork, avoiding my cunt of a roommate, still trying to make sense of why the most popular guy in school keeps talking to me and offering to carry my books to class, and jumping at every shadow imagining it's Deimos, I've been trying to make the diary last longer when I come here to read. Each time I come, I only allow myself one bite, one entry. But even so, I finally gotten to the end. A few days ago, I read the last entry, which was a several pages long thing, ruminating on the point of competition. The author, who I'm positive, based off the handwriting, is a man, questioned why it is we as humans in the 21st century, with access to unimaginable technological wonders and the power to feed the whole world, still fight. Why do we wage wars? Or compete for anything at all? Why do we celebrate that competition? It's freaky. Whoever this person is, they're me, almost literally. It was driving me nuts to think I'd come to the end. But then I came back a few days after that last entry about competition, and there was another entry. This one brief and angry, and full of rage about something that happened in their past that they're still trying to bury. I mean, again, it's me. It's me to the point that I had an insane dream the other day where I really was both the author and reader of this diary. Like some sort of crazy psychological plot twist straight out of Fight Club. I am Tyler. Tyler is me. Not really. I mean, I might have my issues, but I'm not that kind of crazy. I don't think I am, at least. It's been 5 days now since that last entry, and there still hasn't been another one. That's twice as long as the author usually goes between writings. Today, I slip into the secret garden and do my now customary routine. I check the area to make sure I'm really alone, and then carefully pull out the loose stone concealing the diary. I open one of my own textbooks and put the orange leather book inside that, just in case someone steals up on me. Every time I do this, I not so secretly wish for the author himself to walk in on me reading it. I mean, yeah, they'd probably be pissed, or embarrassed, or both. But I know if I could just show them how crazy alike we are, then maybe we could be friends. Maybe more than that. At this point, having crawled so deep inside of this person's psyche, their thoughts, and their dreams, it's not just that I know them more intimately than I've ever known anyone else in my life. I think I might actually be in love with them. Whoever they are. Yeah, like I said, issues. Welcome to my insanity. I sit on the bench and flip to the last angry entry about the past. Gleefully, I flip to the next page, seeing the writer has added something new. Instantly, my smile drops from my face, and my heart turns to ice.
Diaries are supposed to be private, you know. Who are you?
I snap the book shut with a choked gasp. My heart leaps into my throat, sending my pulse skyrocketing. I lurch to my feet, quickly shove the diary back into its hiding place, and cover it with the rock before grabbing my bag and bolting from the garden. I make it just 4 steps before I stop. The campus grounds around me are utterly silent and empty, the sky gray, and the leaves turning orange and red as fall settles in. I glance back at the bench and the hiding place behind it. Who are you? Who are you, my author friend? They say curiosity killed the cat. Then again, they say all sorts of weird shit. So I shove that thought aside, take a seat back on the bench, and pull the diary back out. I pull a pen from my bag, bite the cap off, and open the diary to the last page with the last question. I am you, in a way. An outcast. An outsider. Someone who doesn't fit. Like you, it would seem. I'm very sorry for prying into your personal thoughts. I found your diary by accident a little while ago, and I can't stop reading it. It's like you're writing from inside my head. Who are you? I have my answer the next day.
I am Tyler. Tyler is me. You've read my most private thoughts. I want to know yours. Fair is fair, right? Tell me something about you that nobody else knows.
The fact that this person used the exact same Fight Club line that I had in my head makes me grin. Also, they're totally right. I don't even know who they are, but I do have some seriously heavy personal insight into their private thoughts and feelings. And that's how it all starts. I share a piece of myself. He reflects on it and shares another piece of himself in turn. We don't arrange to meet. We don't know the people behind the correspondence within the diary. But finally, I have a friend here. Present.
So, how's everyone doing in New York? Are there any updates on that horrible shooting?
Mum. She pauses midstream.
Oui?
You're doing it again.
Doing what?
I say it all the time, but it can't be said enough. My mother is a superhero. Originally from a poor family in the Paris suburb of Seine-Saint-Denis, Mum found work at 16 with some faked papers as a housekeeper for an ultra-rich Middle Eastern businessman. Nasser kept a house in Paris that he used maybe 5 times a year, which made it an amazing job, given that Adele was paid as full-time staff. Then, one day, Nasser came to his home in Paris, and my mother didn't leave the house again for 11 months. I don't know all the details. I think only Aunt Celeste and my mother do. But I know that Mum considers me her lucky break, because she conceived me early on. And once he learned that she was pregnant, Nasser never touched her again. She spent the next 9 of those 11 months locked in a basement suite of that huge Parisian mansion, reading and singing to me in her belly. And then when I was finally born, after all of that, I was torn away from her. Well, sort of. Nasser's son, Amir, was in love with an Italian woman without the right connections or family ties. Then Nasser made a business deal with Jean Margot, Celeste's father, under the terms of which Celeste would marry Amir. For the next few years, while Celeste and Amir jet-setted around the world, living the Instagram billionaire lifestyle, I was portrayed as their baby girl for the paparazzi. It was easy. I had the same French and Iranian heritage from Adele and Nasser that I would have had if I really was Amir and Celeste's kid. And they needed a baby to sell their fake marriage. Luckily, Celeste made damn sure that my mother wasn't cut out of the picture entirely. She convinced Amir to demand that his father allow them to bring Adele around the world with them as my nanny, until we managed to break free of all of that, with the help of Adrian Cross. And now, years later, with every reason to be a shattered woman, my mom still stands tall. Even after what happened when I was 12. Even now, with the love of her life stabbing her in the back and taking everything. She remains unbroken. Unbent. She's honestly my hero.
Dis-moi, Dahlia,
she sighs.
What is it I'm doing?
Fixating on how you can help other people with their problems instead of confronting the ones you're dealing with yourself. There's a moment of silence before she sighs.
What? I'm not allowed to be concerned for the Kildare family, and the fact that someone shot at your friend Calliope just because that suckamere Gerard finally showed his true colors.
I shake my head. I'm so sorry, Mum.
She mutters dismissively. Don't be. He can go fuck himself.
This is Adele putting on her brave face, being flippant and shrugging things off as if this is merely a man who stood her up on their second date. Not a man she married and finally opened her heart to, who's now stabbing her in the back after years together. I know she's dying inside, though, even if she's keeping a stiff upper lip for our phone call. Because I've spoken to Celeste, who's a lot more candid about my mum's emotional state concerning everything that's going on. Look, I was going to ask,